The Stoics, known for their profound understanding of human nature, were masters at deciphering the complexities of the mind, including the often misunderstood psychology of women. They recognized that the key to powerful connections lies in understanding the subtle signals and truths that most men overlook. Whether you're trying to figure out if she's genuinely interested or just being friendly, or you're an older guy looking to avoid common pitfalls that push younger women away, Stoic wisdom offers invaluable insights. In this video, we'll compile the most crucial lessons grounded in Stoic philosophy to help you navigate these dynamics with precision. From the secret spots that drive women wild to the common mistakes that can be easily avoided, you'll gain knowledge that only a rare few possess. Stay with us until the end, and you'll uncover the Stoic secrets to mastering female psychology. If you find value in what you learn, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your experiences in the comments below. Your story could be the catalyst for someone else's transformation. The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom and deep understanding of human nature, dedicated their lives to mastering the intricacies of psychology, particularly the often enigmatic behavior of women. Their teachings on self-discipline, emotional intelligence, and the art of observation provide invaluable insights into navigating relationships, especially when there's an age difference involved. Today, we'll be exploring a topic that resonates with many, the common mistakes older men make that can unintentionally push younger women away. In the modern dating landscape, age gap relationships are more common than ever. While they can be exciting and fulfilling, they also come with unique challenges. Older men often bring experience, stability, and wisdom to the table, but they can also make critical mistakes that jeopardize their chances with younger women. If you're over 40 and interested in dating someone younger, it's crucial to be aware of these pitfalls. Before we dive into the details, make sure to watch this video until the end to fully grasp the powerful concepts we're about to discuss. If you find this content helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts or experiences. We'd love to hear your stories, especially if you've encountered these mistakes yourself or learned how to avoid them. And of course, share this video with anyone who might benefit from these insights. Now, let's get started. Chapter 1. She is younger than you thought. One of the first mistakes that can create significant issues when dating younger women is misjudging her age. Age can be a tricky subject, especially in relationships with a substantial age difference. As an older man, you might find yourself attracted to a woman who appears to be in her late 20s or early 30s, only to discover later that she's much younger than you initially thought. This miscalculation can lead to a variety of problems, ranging from legal concerns to social and cultural misunderstandings. When you realize that the woman you're interested in is younger than you believed, it's essential to take a step back and assess the situation. The age difference might be more significant than you're comfortable with, and this can affect the dynamics of your relationship in ways you hadn't anticipated. The Stoics taught us to approach life with rationality and calmness, and it's crucial to apply this mindset here. Ask yourself if this relationship is truly in line with your values, your long-term goals, and your sense of integrity. One of the first things to consider is the legal implications. Depending on the age of the woman and the age of consent in your location, you might be inadvertently stepping into a dangerous situation. Even if the relationship is legal, there may be societal or cultural expectations that you need to be aware of. Relationships with significant age gaps can sometimes attract scrutiny, and it's important to consider how this might impact both you and her. Beyond the legal and societal aspects, there's the question of compatibility. Younger women often have different life priorities and perspectives than older men. What might seem exciting and novel to her could feel trivial or even frustrating to you. As an older man, you might be more focused on stability, career, and long-term planning, while she might be in a phase of life where she's exploring new experiences, enjoying her youth, and discovering herself. These differing priorities can create friction if not addressed openly and honestly. For example, you might be at a stage in life where you're thinking about retirement, investing in property, or focusing on your health and wellness. She, on the other hand, might be more interested in travel, nightlife, or exploring different career paths. These differences don't necessarily mean the relationship won't work, but they do mean that you need to be aware of them and willing to navigate them with care. The key to managing this situation is communication. If you find yourself in a relationship where the age gap is more significant than you anticipated, it's crucial to have an open conversation about your expectations, life goals, and the challenges that might arise due to the difference in age. By addressing these issues early on, you can avoid misunderstandings and ensure that both of you are on the same page. This conversation should include discussions about your values, your vision for the future, and how you plan to handle potential obstacles. Another important aspect to consider is how others perceive your relationship. Age gap relationships can sometimes attract judgment or scrutiny from friends, family, or society at large. While the Stoics taught us not to be overly concerned with the opinions of others, it's still essential to be aware of the social dynamics at play. Being mindful of these factors will help you navigate your relationship with maturity and wisdom. For instance, her friends or family might have concerns about the age difference and how it will impact her future. They might question your intentions or worry about the power dynamics in the relationship. On the flip side, your friends or family might have similar concerns about her intentions or the potential for conflict down the road. These perceptions can create tension, and it's important to be prepared to address them with empathy and understanding. Additionally, there's the matter of life stages. You might be at a point where you're established in your career, financially secure, and thinking about the next chapter of your life. She, however, might be just starting out, dealing with student loans, career uncertainty, or the pressures of finding her place in the world. These different stages of life can lead to differing expectations and needs within the relationship. It's also worth considering the potential for future regret. If the relationship is based primarily on physical attraction or the excitement of the age difference, it might not be sustainable in the long run. As the initial thrill fades, you might find that your values, interests, and goals are too different to maintain a healthy and fulfilling relationship. The Stoics believed in living a life of purpose and meaning, and it's important to ensure that your relationship aligns with these principles. In summary, misjudging her age can lead to significant complications, both personally and socially. It's essential to approach the situation with clarity, open communication, and a strong understanding of your own values and goals. By doing so, you'll be better equipped to handle the challenges that come with dating someone significantly younger. Remember, a successful relationship is built on more than just attraction. It requires shared values, mutual respect, and a deep understanding of each other's needs and desires. Chapter 2. She already has 3 children. Another significant mistake that older men can make when dating younger women is not fully understanding her family situation, specifically, that she might already have children. Finding out that the woman you're interested in has 3 kids can be a game changer, and it's important to approach this revelation with both empathy and a clear sense of what it means for your relationship. From a Stoic perspective, the first step is to accept reality as it is. If she has children, that's a part of her life that isn't going to change. These children will always be her priority, and they'll inevitably influence every aspect of your relationship. The Stoics taught the importance of embracing the present moment and dealing with it wisely, and this situation is no exception. Before you continue in the relationship, take the time to reflect on whether you're truly ready to be involved in a family dynamic that includes children. This is a serious commitment, and it's essential to be honest with yourself about your willingness to take on a fatherly or supportive role. If you're not ready for this kind of responsibility, it's better to acknowledge it early on rather than let it become a source of tension later. Consider the practical implications as well. Dating someone with 3 children means that her time, energy, and resources are already heavily invested in her kids. This can affect the amount of time you spend together, the kinds of activities you can do, and how quickly your relationship progresses. Are you prepared for weekends that might involve soccer games, school events, and family gatherings rather than spontaneous getaways or late-night dinners? Understanding and accepting these realities is crucial for a healthy relationship. Moreover, it's important to consider the emotional aspects of dating someone with children. Her kids are likely to play a significant role in her decision-making, and they might also have strong feelings about her dating life. You'll need to navigate these relationships with care, building trust and respect over time. This requires patience, understanding, and a genuine interest in getting to know her children as individuals. It's also essential to communicate openly with her about your feelings and expectations. If you're not sure how you feel about dating someone with children, discuss it with her honestly. She'll likely appreciate your transparency, and it will help both of you understand where you stand. Ask questions about her children, her parenting style, and what she envisions for her future. This will give you a better sense of whether your lives are compatible. However, it's important to avoid making assumptions. Just because she has children doesn't mean she's looking for someone to step in as a parent. Some women might want a partner who can be a father figure to their kids, while others might prefer to keep their dating life and family life separate. Understanding her expectations will help you avoid misunderstandings and ensure that you're both on the same page. From a social perspective, be prepared for the possibility of judgment or criticism from others. Dating a woman with children, especially when there's a significant age gap, can sometimes attract unwanted attention or comments. The Stoics taught us to rise above the opinions of others and focus on what truly matters, your own values and the well-being of those you care about. Keep this in mind as you navigate your relationship. It's also worth considering how your own family and friends might react to the situation. They might have concerns about the challenges of dating someone with children, especially if they believe you're not ready for that kind of responsibility. Be prepared to have open and honest conversations with them, explaining your perspective and why you believe this relationship is worth pursuing. In summary, discovering that the woman you're dating already has 3 children is a significant revelation that requires careful consideration. Approach the situation with honesty, empathy, and a clear understanding of your own readiness to take on the responsibilities that come with dating someone who has kids. By doing so, you'll be better equipped to build a strong, healthy relationship that respects both her role as a mother and your own needs and desires. Chapter 3. She wants to move in after 2 weeks. One of the most common mistakes older men make when dating younger women is moving too quickly, particularly when it comes to living arrangements. If you find yourself in a situation where she wants to move in after just 2 weeks of dating, it's essential to hit the brakes and carefully consider the implications. The Stoics emphasized the importance of making decisions based on reason rather than emotion. While it might feel exciting to take such a big step early in the relationship, it's crucial to assess whether this decision is truly in your best interest. Moving in together is a major commitment that should be approached with caution, especially when the relationship is still in its early stages. First and foremost, consider why she's eager to move in so quickly. Is she genuinely interested in deepening the relationship, or are there other factors at play? It's possible that she might be looking for stability, financial security, or simply a place to live. While these reasons aren't inherently bad, it's important to understand her motivations and ensure that they align with your own. Additionally, moving in together too soon can put unnecessary pressure on the relationship. Living together means sharing space, routines, and responsibilities, which can quickly reveal differences that weren't apparent during the dating phase. Without a solid foundation of trust and understanding, these differences can lead to conflicts and resentment. Before making a decision, take the time to discuss your expectations and concerns with her. Explain why you feel it's important to take things slow and ensure that both of you are truly ready for this step. A mature relationship is built on communication, and this conversation can help you both clarify what you want from the relationship. It's also worth considering the practical aspects of moving in together. Have you discussed finances, household responsibilities, and how you'll handle conflicts? These are important topics that should be addressed before making any decisions. By having these conversations early, you can avoid misunderstandings and set the stage for a successful living arrangement. From a Stoic perspective, it's essential to focus on what you can control, your own actions and decisions, rather than being swept up by the emotions of the moment. Take the time to reflect on whether moving in together aligns with your long-term goals and values. If you're unsure, it's better to wait until you're confident that this is the right step for both of you. Another important consideration is how this decision might impact your social and family dynamics. Moving in with someone, especially after such a short period, can raise eyebrows and lead to questions from friends and family. Be prepared to explain your decision and address any concerns they might have. Ultimately, the key is to make sure that both you and she are on the same page and that this decision is based on mutual understanding and respect. If you decide to move forward, do so with clear expectations and a plan for how you'll navigate the challenges that come with living together. If you decide to wait, explain your reasoning and reassure her that it's not a reflection of your feelings for her, but rather a desire to build a strong foundation for the future. In summary, while it might be tempting to move in together after just 2 weeks of dating, it's crucial to approach this decision with caution and reason. Take the time to discuss your expectations, address any concerns, and ensure that both of you are truly ready for this step. By doing so, you'll be better equipped to build a healthy, lasting relationship that can withstand the challenges of living together. Chapter 4. You dated her mom years ago. One of the most awkward and potentially relationship-ending mistakes an older man can make when dating a younger woman is realizing that you dated her mom years ago. This revelation can create an uncomfortable and complicated dynamic, and it's essential to handle the situation with honesty, sensitivity, and a clear understanding of the potential consequences. The Stoics taught us to approach life's challenges with courage and integrity, and this situation is no different. If you find yourself in this predicament, the first step is to be upfront with her about your past relationship with her mother. It's better to address the issue early on rather than risk it coming out later and causing even more complications. When you tell her, be honest but tactful. Explain the nature of your past relationship with her mother, whether it was a serious relationship or a brief fling, and be prepared for her reaction. She might be shocked, hurt, or even angry, and it's important to give her the space and time she needs to process the information. It's also crucial to consider how this revelation might affect her relationship with her mother. Depending on the circumstances, it could create tension or conflict between them, especially if her mother still has feelings for you or harbors any resentment. Be mindful of these potential issues and be prepared to navigate them with care. From a Stoic perspective, this is an opportunity to practice self-control and patience. Don't rush her to make a decision about the relationship. Give her the time she needs to decide whether she's comfortable continuing. At the same time, be clear about your own feelings and whether you believe the relationship can move forward despite this complication. Another important aspect to consider is how this might impact your own social circle. Depending on how well-known your past relationship with her mother is, it could become a topic of gossip or even cause tension within your community or social group. Be prepared to handle these challenges with dignity and grace, and focus on what truly matters, your values and the well-being of those involved. It's also worth thinking about the long-term implications of this revelation. If you continue the relationship, it's likely that your past relationship with her mother will continue to be a factor, especially during family gatherings or social events. This can create awkward situations, and it's important to be prepared for them and have a plan for how you'll handle them. In summary, discovering that you once dated the mother of the younger woman you're seeing is a delicate situation that requires honesty, sensitivity, and careful consideration. By being upfront about your past, giving her the space to process the information, and approaching the situation with integrity, you can navigate this challenge in a way that respects both her feelings and your own values. Chapter 5. She wants to keep you hidden from her friends. One of the more subtle mistakes older men can make when dating younger women is agreeing to be kept hidden from her friends. If she's reluctant to introduce you to her social circle or prefers to keep your relationship a secret, it's essential to recognize this as a potential red flag and address it head-on. From a Stoic perspective, the idea of being hidden or kept in the shadows goes against the principles of honesty, openness, and self-respect. A relationship should be built on mutual trust and transparency, and if she's unwilling to share your relationship with her friends, it's important to understand why. There could be a variety of reasons for her reluctance. She might be concerned about how her friends will react to the age difference, or she might be worried about potential judgment or criticism. While these concerns are understandable, it's important to remember that a healthy relationship requires both partners to be proud of each other and willing to stand by each other in public. If you find yourself in this situation, the first step is to have an open and honest conversation with her about why she wants to keep the relationship hidden. Express your feelings and concerns and ask her to explain her reasons. This conversation can help you both understand each other's perspectives and work towards a solution. It's also important to consider how being hidden might affect your self-esteem and the overall dynamic of the relationship. Agreeing to be kept a secret can lead to feelings of insecurity or inadequacy, and it can create an imbalance of power in the relationship. You deserve to be with someone who is proud to be with you and who is willing to share your relationship with the people who matter to her. If her reasons for keeping the relationship hidden are based on fear of judgment or criticism, it might be worth discussing how you can both address these concerns together. Perhaps there are ways to gradually introduce the relationship to her friends or to have conversations with them about your relationship and why it works for both of you. However, if she's unwilling to address the issue or continues to insist on keeping the relationship a secret, it might be a sign that she's not fully committed or that there are deeper issues at play. In this case, it's important to consider whether this relationship is truly fulfilling your needs and whether it's worth continuing. From a Stoic perspective, it's essential to focus on what you can control, your own actions and decisions, rather than trying to force her to change. If she's not willing to be open about the relationship, it might be time to reevaluate whether this is the right relationship for you. Remember that you have the power to choose relationships that align with your values and bring you joy and fulfillment. In summary, being kept hidden from her friends is a significant issue that should not be ignored. By addressing the situation with honesty and self-respect, you can determine whether this relationship is truly right for you and whether it has the potential to grow into a healthy, open partnership. Chapter 6. She's not over her ex. One of the most provocative and potentially devastating mistakes older men can make when dating younger women is getting involved with someone who isn't fully over her ex. If you find yourself in a situation where she's still talking about her ex, comparing you to him, or even maintaining contact with him, it's a red flag that demands immediate attention. The Stoics taught the importance of self-control and emotional detachment, but this situation calls for a different kind of discipline, the discipline of self-respect. If she's not over her ex, you're not dating her, you're dating her baggage, her unresolved feelings, and her past. This can create a toxic dynamic where you're constantly competing with a ghost, trying to measure up to someone she hasn't fully let go of. The first step in addressing this situation is to confront it directly. Ask her about her past relationship and how she feels about it now. Listen carefully to her responses. If she's still hung up on her ex, you'll hear it in her words, see it in her actions, and feel it in the way she interacts with you. If she's still emotionally attached to him, it's crucial to recognize that this is a problem she needs to resolve on her own. It's important to set clear boundaries. Let her know that you won't tolerate being treated as a substitute or a second choice. You deserve someone who is fully present and committed to building a future with you, not someone who is still clinging to the past. If she's not ready to move on, it's better to walk away now rather than getting entangled in a relationship that's doomed to fail. One of the most dangerous aspects of dating someone who isn't over their ex is the risk of infidelity. If she's still emotionally connected to her ex, there's a chance she might act on those feelings, especially if the opportunity presents itself. This isn't about being paranoid, it's about being realistic. Don't ignore the warning signs, and don't allow yourself to be blindsided by betrayal. Another key issue to consider is the impact this unresolved baggage will have on your self-esteem and mental health. Constantly being compared to her ex can erode your confidence and make you question your worth. This isn't fair to you, and it's not a healthy foundation for a relationship. The Stoics believed in the importance of inner peace and self-worth, and this situation threatens both. It's also important to consider how this might affect the power dynamics in your relationship. If she's still hung up on her ex, she might use that to manipulate or control you, whether consciously or unconsciously. This can lead to a situation where you're constantly trying to prove yourself, walking on eggshells to avoid triggering her unresolved emotions. If she insists on maintaining contact with her ex, it's crucial to have an open and honest conversation about it. Why does she feel the need to stay in touch with him? What role does he play in her life now? If she's unwilling to cut ties or establish clear boundaries, it's a sign that she's not ready to move on, and you need to seriously reconsider whether this relationship is worth your time and energy. In summary, dating a woman who isn't over her ex is a recipe for heartache and frustration. Don't allow yourself to be caught in a love triangle with her past. Confront the situation head-on, set clear boundaries, and be prepared to walk away if she's not ready to commit fully to you. Your time, energy, and emotional well-being are too valuable to waste on someone who's still living in the shadow of her previous relationship. Chapter 7. She's using you as a sugar daddy. Perhaps one of the most provocative and potentially humiliating situations older men can find themselves in is dating a younger woman who is using them as a sugar daddy. If you start to notice that your relationship revolves around lavish gifts, expensive dinners, and financial favors, it's time to ask yourself a hard question. Is she with you because she's genuinely interested in you, or is she just after your money? The Stoics taught us to value what truly matters: virtue, wisdom, and integrity over material wealth. If you find yourself in a relationship where your worth seems to be measured by the size of your bank account, it's a clear sign that something is wrong. No amount of money can buy genuine affection, respect, or love, and if she's only with you for financial gain, you're being taken advantage of. The first step in dealing with this situation is to recognize the signs. Does she constantly ask for expensive gifts or expect you to foot the bill for every outing? Does she seem more interested in what you can provide for her materially than in getting to know you as a person? Is she quick to disappear or become distant when the money isn't flowing as freely? These are all red flags that she might be using you for your wealth. It's important to establish boundaries early on. Make it clear that you're not a walking ATM and that your relationship should be based on mutual respect, not financial transactions. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-control and living within one's means. If she's pushing you to spend more than you're comfortable with, it's a sign that she's not respecting your boundaries or your financial well-being. Don't be afraid to test her intentions. You might consider pulling back on the lavish spending and see how she reacts. Does she stick around because she enjoys your company, or does she suddenly lose interest when the money dries up? Her reaction will tell you everything you need to know about her true motives. It's also worth considering how this dynamic might affect your self-respect. Being used for your money can leave you feeling empty, unappreciated, and even humiliated. The Stoics taught the importance of self-respect and living a life of integrity. If you're in a relationship where you're being used, it's impossible to maintain your self-respect and live authentically. There's also the issue of power dynamics. When you're in a relationship where money is the driving force, it creates an imbalance of power. She might start to see you as someone she can manipulate or control through financial incentives. This isn't a healthy foundation for any relationship, and it's something you need to address before it spirals out of control. It's important to have a candid conversation with her about your concerns. Ask her directly about her intentions and listen carefully to her response. If she's evasive, defensive, or dismissive, it's a sign that she's not being truthful with you. On the other hand, if she's willing to have an honest conversation and work on changing the dynamic, there might be a chance to salvage the relationship. However, if it becomes clear that she's only interested in you for your money, it's time to walk away. Don't allow yourself to be used or exploited. The Stoics taught the importance of self-control, wisdom, and living a life of virtue. Being in a relationship where you're being used as a sugar daddy is the opposite of living virtuously. It's a life of deception, manipulation, and exploitation. In summary, dating a younger woman who is using you as a sugar daddy is one of the most provocative and damaging situations you can find yourself in. Don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of for your wealth. Recognize the signs, establish clear boundaries, and be prepared to walk away if her intentions aren't genuine. Your self-respect, financial well-being, and emotional health are too valuable to be sacrificed on the altar of someone else's greed. As we wrap up this episode, it's essential to remember that dating as an older man, especially with younger women, comes with its unique set of challenges. But with the wisdom and experience that age brings, you're better equipped to navigate these challenges with grace and confidence. The Stoics, during their long and meaningful lives, mastered the psychology of relationships by emphasizing self-awareness, discipline, and the pursuit of true virtue over fleeting desires. They understood that the most fulfilling connections are built on mutual respect, honesty, and shared values, not superficial attractions or material wealth. By being mindful of the mistakes we've discussed, misjudging her age, overlooking her past, ignoring red flags about her intentions, or allowing yourself to be manipulated, you can avoid unnecessary heartache and ensure that your relationships are healthy, balanced, and rooted in genuine connection. Remember, it's never too late to make changes and improve your approach. If you recognize any of these patterns in your own life, take the time to reflect, adjust your course, and align your actions with the principles that truly matter. Your happiness and fulfillment depend on it. If you found value in this video, make sure to watch until the end and check out our other episodes where we dive deeper into the wisdom of the Stoics and how it can apply to modern relationships. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share your stories if you've experienced anything similar. Your experiences could help others navigate their own paths more wisely. Until next time, continue to live with wisdom, integrity, and the understanding that true connection transcends age. It's about who you are at your core. Throughout their long and meaningful lives, the Stoics mastered not only the art of self-discipline and emotional resilience, but also the subtle nuances of human behavior. Among their many insights, one stands out as particularly relevant in the modern world: the ability to decipher the intentions of others, especially in matters of the heart. Understanding the psychology of women, while often perceived as complex, can be demystified with a little knowledge and observation. In this episode, we're diving into the key signs that a woman is into you and not just being friendly. Too often, men find themselves stuck in a gray area, unsure whether a woman's actions stem from genuine interest or mere politeness. This uncertainty can be frustrating and confusing, but by the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of the signals to look for. Whether you're trying to figure out a new acquaintance or someone you've known for a while, These signs will help you determine if she's genuinely into you. Before we get started, make sure to watch this video until the end to fully grasp the concepts we are about to explore. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts or experiences. Have you ever found yourself questioning whether a woman was interested in you? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might help someone else. And of course, share this video with anyone who might benefit from these insights. Now, let's dive in. Chapter 1. She runs into you a lot. Subtle stalking. One of the most telling signs that a woman is into you is when she seems to run into you more frequently than what could be dismissed as mere coincidence. These seemingly chance encounters, whether at work, the gym, your favorite coffee shop, or even at social events, are often anything but accidental. In reality, she's likely subtly orchestrating these run-ins to create opportunities for interaction, all without being overtly obvious about her intentions. At first glance, this behavior might not seem like a big deal. However, it's important to understand that when a woman is interested in someone, she often goes out of her way to be where he is. This isn't always a conscious decision on her part. In many cases, it's driven by a subconscious desire to be near you, to increase her chances of being noticed by you, and to cultivate a sense of familiarity. While it might not be the type of stalking you'd see in a thriller movie, it's definitely a form of subtle stalking, done with the hope that you'll start to see her in a different light. This behavior is a significant indicator of her interest because it reflects her willingness to invest time and effort into being in your orbit. She's not simply hoping to bump into you by chance, she's making calculated moves to ensure these encounters happen. When you notice a pattern of accidental run-ins, especially in places where you wouldn't normally expect to see her, it's a strong signal that she's trying to create opportunities for deeper engagement. From a Stoic perspective, this is where your powers of observation and discernment come into play. The Stoics valued the ability to see things as they are, without being clouded by wishful thinking or emotional bias. So, when you find yourself encountering a particular woman more often than usual, it's worth asking yourself some pointed questions. Does she seem genuinely surprised when you run into each other, or does she appear pleased, as if she expected it? Does she use these moments as a chance to strike up a conversation, or does she seem eager to engage with you in some meaningful way? Her reactions during these encounters can reveal a great deal about her true intentions. Moreover, consider the context and timing of these run-ins. If she's frequently showing up in places where you spend a lot of time, especially if those places are not part of her usual routine, it's a strong indication that she's going out of her way to be around you. This behavior can manifest in various ways. She might suddenly develop an interest in activities you're passionate about, start attending events you frequent, or conveniently be around at times when she knows you'll be there. All of these actions suggest that she's interested in creating more opportunities to interact with you, and recognizing this pattern is crucial in understanding her feelings. However, it's essential to approach this situation with caution and a balanced perspective. Running into someone occasionally doesn't necessarily mean she's into you. Context is key here. If these encounters happen regularly and are coupled with other signs that we'll discuss in this video, then it's safer to assume that she's more than just being friendly. The Stoics often emphasized the importance of not jumping to conclusions, instead advocating for rational judgment based on clear evidence. This wisdom is particularly relevant when interpreting a woman's actions. Don't allow yourself to be swayed by wishful thinking, but also don't dismiss her efforts if they're consistent and frequent. For example, let's say you visit a certain cafe every morning before work, and suddenly she starts showing up there too, even though it's out of her way. Or perhaps you're a regular at a local gym, and she suddenly decides to switch her workout schedule to align with yours. These aren't mere coincidences, they're deliberate attempts to create situations where you might notice her. From her perspective, it's a way to build rapport without being too forward, allowing her to gauge your reaction and interest. Another point to consider is how she behaves during these encounters. Does she seem to linger longer than necessary? Does she initiate conversations or ask questions that keep the interaction going? Women who are interested will often take advantage of these accidental meetings to create a connection, even if it's just through small talk. This is her way of testing the waters, seeing how you respond, and whether there's potential for something more. In summary, when a woman is into you, she'll find ways to see you more often, using these encounters as a low-risk method of building a connection. These run-ins are her way of getting closer to you without making an overt declaration of her feelings. The next time you accidentally run into her, take a moment to reflect on whether it's truly a coincidence or if there's something more deliberate at play. Remember, the Stoics taught us to be mindful, to observe without judgment, and to act with clarity. By applying these principles, you'll be better equipped to discern her true intentions and respond in a way that aligns with your own values and goals. Chapter 2. She gives signs she is single. Another strong indicator that a woman is more than just being friendly is when she subtly or overtly signals that she is single. This might seem straightforward, but the way she communicates her availability can speak volumes about her interest in you. Women who are interested in someone will often go out of their way to let that person know they're available, either through direct conversation or more subtle cues. For example, she might casually mention that she doesn't have any weekend plans or drop hints about not having a boyfriend. These are not random statements, they're deliberate attempts to communicate her availability. From a Stoic perspective, it's important to recognize these moments and understand their significance. Stoics value the power of observation and the ability to see beyond the surface of things. In the context of relationships, this means being aware of the subtle signals someone might be sending you. When a woman is interested, she may also talk about past relationships in a way that emphasizes her current single status. She might discuss her ex in the past tense, or she may even express how she's enjoying her independence. These discussions serve a dual purpose. They provide you with information about her relationship status while also giving her a chance to gauge your reaction. If she senses that you're interested, she might become more open and direct about her feelings. Additionally, consider how she reacts when the topic of relationships comes up. If she's quick to point out that she's not seeing anyone or that she's open to new experiences, it's a clear sign that she wants you to know she's available. Women who aren't interested typically won't go out of their way to emphasize their single status. Instead, they might remain vague or even avoid the topic altogether. The fact that she's bringing it up, especially in a context where it isn't necessary, suggests that she wants you to see her as a potential partner. From a Stoic perspective, it's also important to consider the context and timing of these conversations. If she's bringing up her single status in situations where it feels natural and relevant, it's likely a sign of interest. However, if she's doing so in a forced or awkward way, it might be worth considering whether she's trying too hard to send a message. Stoics valued honesty and straightforwardness, so while it's important to recognize subtle cues, it's also crucial to ensure that you are not misinterpreting her intentions. Another subtle way a woman might signal her availability is through her body language. For instance, she might make a point of not wearing a ring on her ring finger, or she may even draw attention to her bare hand. She might also stand closer to you or make prolonged eye contact when discussing relationships, creating a sense of intimacy that isn't present in more casual interactions. These nonverbal cues are just as important as what she says, and they often provide even clearer insights into her feelings. Women might also use social media to signal their single status. For example, she might post more photos of herself out with friends, highlighting her independence and social life. She may also engage with your posts more frequently, commenting or liking them in a way that suggests she's paying attention to you. This type of behavior indicates that she wants to keep herself on your radar, subtly reminding you that she's single and interested. In summary, when a woman goes out of her way to let you know she's single, it's a strong indication that she's interested in more than just friendship. Whether through direct conversation, subtle hints, or non-verbal cues, she's trying to make it clear that she's available and open to the possibility of a deeper connection. The Stoics taught us to be mindful and observant, to see beyond the surface and understand the deeper meaning behind people's actions. By applying these principles, you can better interpret her signals and respond in a way that aligns with your own intentions. Chapter 3. She touches you or on purpose. Physical touch is one of the most powerful indicators of attraction. When a woman is interested in you, she'll often find subtle ways to make physical contact. This might be a light touch on the arm, a playful shove, or even a brush of her hand against yours. These seemingly small gestures are actually significant indicators that she's attracted to you and wants to establish a closer connection. From a Stoic perspective, physical touch can be seen as a form of nonverbal communication, conveying feelings and intentions that words alone might not express. The Stoics believed in the importance of understanding and interpreting the signals that others send, and this is particularly relevant when it comes to physical touch. When a woman initiates contact, she's not just being friendly, she's testing the waters to see how you respond and whether you're receptive to her advances. It's important to note that the context and frequency of these touches matter. A woman who is interested in you will often touch you more frequently and in more intimate ways than she would with someone she views as just a friend. For example, she might place her hand on your shoulder while talking to you, or she might brush her leg against yours while sitting next to you. These actions are deliberate and are meant to create a sense of closeness and intimacy. Another key aspect to consider is how she reacts to your touch. If she seems to welcome it, or even initiates more touch in response, it's a clear sign that she's into you. On the other hand, if she seems uncomfortable or pulls away, it's a sign that she might not be as interested. The Stoics value the ability to read and interpret the emotions of others, and this is crucial when trying to understand a woman's feelings through her physical actions. In addition to intentional touches, pay attention to how she behaves in more casual situations. Does she find excuses to be close to you, like sitting next to you or standing closer than necessary? Does she seem to linger in your personal space, even when it's not required? These subtle behaviors are often indicative of her desire to be closer to you, both physically and emotionally. Physical touch can also serve as a way for a woman to gauge your interest. By initiating contact, she's testing your reaction, whether you reciprocate, pull away, or remain neutral. Your response can either encourage her to continue or signal that she should back off. This dance of touch and response is a delicate balance, and it's one of the ways that attraction is communicated without words. Furthermore, consider how she touches you compared to how she interacts with others. If she's more physical with you than with her other friends, it's a strong indication that she sees you differently. She might be more reserved in her interactions with others, but with you, she's more open and tactile. This contrast is important to recognize, as it highlights her unique interest in you. However, it's also important to be aware of boundaries and ensure that the physical contact is mutual and comfortable for both parties. The Stoics believed in respecting others and maintaining balance in relationships. While physical touch can be a sign of attraction, it should always be consensual and appropriate to the context. If you're unsure about her intentions, it's always best to communicate openly and ensure that you're both on the same page. In conclusion, when a woman makes a point of touching you, it's a strong sign that she's interested in more than just friendship. Whether through light, playful touches or more intimate contact, she's trying to create a connection and see how you respond. By being mindful of these gestures and considering the context, you can better understand her feelings and decide how to proceed. The Stoics taught us to observe carefully and act with intention, and these principles are just as relevant in the realm of relationships. Chapter 4. She asks deep personal questions about you. When a woman is interested in more than just friendship, she'll often go beyond surface-level conversations and start asking deeper, more personal questions. This is a clear sign that she's trying to get to know you on a more intimate level and is genuinely interested in who you are as a person. These questions are her way of exploring your thoughts, feelings, and experiences, all while creating a stronger emotional connection. From a Stoic perspective, asking deep questions is a way of seeking knowledge and understanding, both of oneself and others. The Stoics valued meaningful conversations and believed that true connections are built on a foundation of mutual understanding and shared values. When a woman takes the time to ask you about your life, your dreams, your fears, and your beliefs, she's not just making small talk, she's trying to understand what makes you tick and whether you're compatible on a deeper level. These conversations often start innocuously but can quickly delve into more significant topics. She might ask about your family, your childhood, your aspirations, or your thoughts on important life issues. These aren't just idle curiosities, they're questions designed to reveal your character and values. By learning more about you, she's trying to determine whether you're someone she can connect with on a deeper, more meaningful level. Pay attention to the types of questions she asks and how she responds to your answers. If she seems genuinely interested in your responses, asking follow-up questions and engaging in the conversation, it's a strong sign that she's invested in getting to know you better. She's not just listening to be polite, she's listening because she cares about what you have to say and wants to understand you more fully. Additionally, consider how these conversations make you feel. If you find yourself opening up to her in ways that you don't with others, it's a sign that she's creating a safe space for deeper connection. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-reflection and honesty in relationships. When you feel comfortable sharing your thoughts and feelings with her, it's an indication that she's fostering an environment of trust and openness, which is essential for any meaningful relationship. Moreover, asking deep personal questions can also be a way for her to show her vulnerability and encourage you to do the same. By sharing her own experiences and thoughts, she's inviting you to reciprocate, creating a bond that goes beyond superficial interactions. This exchange of personal information helps to build intimacy and trust, key components in any romantic relationship. It's also important to note that the depth and intensity of these conversations can vary depending on the context. If you're spending time together in a more private or relaxed setting, she might feel more comfortable asking these questions. On the other hand, if you're in a more public or casual environment, she might keep things lighter but still find ways to subtly probe into more personal territory. The Stoics emphasized the importance of context and appropriateness in all interactions, and this is particularly relevant when it comes to deep conversations. In conclusion, when a woman asks you deep personal questions, it's a clear sign that she's interested in more than just friendship. She's trying to get to know you on a deeper level and is genuinely interested in who you are as a person. By engaging in these conversations and being open to sharing your thoughts and feelings, you can create a stronger emotional connection and lay the foundation for a meaningful relationship. The Stoics taught us to value wisdom, honesty, and understanding in all our interactions, and these principles are crucial when navigating the complexities of romantic relationships. Chapter 5. She laughs at all your jokes. Laughter is one of the most universal signs of attraction. When a woman is interested in you, she's likely to laugh at your jokes, even if they're not particularly funny. This doesn't mean that she's just being polite. Rather, it's a way of showing that she enjoys your company and is trying to build rapport with you. Laughter creates a positive, light-hearted atmosphere, and it's a powerful tool for fostering connection and intimacy. From a Stoic perspective, laughter can be seen as a form of shared joy and mutual understanding. The Stoics believed in the importance of finding contentment and happiness in simple things, and laughter is one of those things that can bring people closer together. When a woman laughs at your jokes, she's not just reacting to the humor, she's also signaling that she enjoys being around you and appreciates your sense of humor. It's important to pay attention to how often and in what context she laughs at your jokes. If she consistently finds your jokes funny, especially in situations where others might not, it's a strong indication that she's interested in you. Her laughter is a way of showing that she's attuned to you and enjoys the way you see the world. This shared sense of humor can be a powerful bonding tool as it creates a sense of camaraderie and mutual understanding. Moreover, consider how her laughter affects the dynamic between you. Does it make the conversation flow more easily? Does it create a sense of comfort and ease? When a woman is genuinely interested in you, her laughter will often lead to a more relaxed and enjoyable interaction. This, in turn, can make it easier for you to open up and be yourself, further strengthening the connection between you. In addition to laughing at your jokes, she might also make an effort to engage in playful banter with you. This back-and-forth exchange of humor is another way of building rapport and creating a sense of intimacy. The Stoics valued wit and wisdom, and playful banter can be seen as a form of intellectual sparring that deepens the connection between two people. When she teases you or responds to your jokes with her own, she's not just having fun, she's also trying to create a deeper bond. It's also worth noting that her laughter might be accompanied by other signs of attraction, such as prolonged eye contact, a warm smile, or a light touch. These additional cues reinforce the idea that she's interested in more than just friendship. The Stoics taught the importance of being observant and aware of the signals others send, and by paying attention to these subtle signs, you can better understand her feelings and intentions. However, it's important to differentiate between genuine laughter and polite laughter. A woman who is truly interested in you will laugh in a way that feels natural and spontaneous, rather than forced or obligatory. Her laughter will come easily, and it will be accompanied by a genuine sense of enjoyment. The Stoics emphasized the value of authenticity in all interactions, and this is particularly important when interpreting signs of attraction. In conclusion, when a woman laughs at your jokes, it's a strong sign that she's interested in you and enjoys your company. Her laughter is a way of building rapport, creating a positive atmosphere, and signaling her attraction. By recognizing and appreciating this, you can foster a deeper connection and potentially take your relationship to the next level. The Stoics taught us to find joy in simple pleasures and to be mindful of the signals others send, and these principles are key to understanding the role of laughter in romantic attraction. Chapter 6. She initiates physical contact. Physical touch is one of the most powerful nonverbal signals of attraction. When a woman is interested in you, she may find subtle ways to initiate physical contact. This could be as simple as brushing her hand against yours, playfully tapping your arm during a conversation, or finding excuses to get closer to you physically. These gestures, though small, can speak volumes about her feelings and intentions. The Stoics believed in the importance of understanding human behavior and emotions, even though they advocated for control over one's own emotions. Recognizing the significance of touch in human interaction is crucial for interpreting a woman's interest. Physical touch often bypasses the need for words, allowing emotions to be communicated directly and powerfully. Pay close attention to how often and in what context she touches you. If she consistently finds ways to initiate physical contact, it's a strong indicator of her attraction. For example, she might lean in closer during a conversation, touch your arm when making a point, or find reasons to be near you in social situations. These gestures indicate that she feels comfortable around you and desires a closer connection. It's also important to observe how she reacts when you initiate physical contact. If she responds positively by reciprocating the touch, smiling, or moving closer, it's a clear sign that she's open to a deeper physical connection. On the other hand, if she seems uncomfortable or pulls away, it might indicate that she's not ready for that level of intimacy. The Stoics emphasized the importance of respecting others' boundaries, and this principle is particularly relevant when navigating physical touch in romantic situations. Additionally, the type of touch can vary depending on the context. In more formal or public settings, the touches might be more subtle, like a light touch on the shoulder or a brief brush of the hand. In more private or relaxed environments, the touches might become more prolonged or intimate, such as a lingering hand on your arm or a playful nudge. The Stoics taught the importance of context in all interactions, and understanding the nuances of physical touch is key to interpreting a woman's intentions. It's also worth noting that some women might be more naturally tactile than others. Cultural background, personal comfort levels, and past experiences can all influence how a woman expresses herself through touch. However, when a woman goes out of her way to initiate physical contact with you, especially in ways that seem intentional and affectionate, it's a strong sign that she's attracted to you. In conclusion, when a woman initiates physical contact, it's a clear indication of her interest in you. These subtle gestures of touch convey her desire for a closer connection and can be a powerful sign of romantic attraction. By being attuned to these signals and responding appropriately, you can foster a deeper connection and potentially take your relationship to the next level. The Stoics taught the importance of understanding human behavior and emotions, and this wisdom is invaluable when interpreting the role of physical touch in romantic attraction. Chapter 7. She mirrors your body language. Mirroring is a powerful psychological phenomenon where one person subconsciously imitates the gestures, posture, and expressions of another. When a woman is interested in you, she's likely to mirror your body language as a way of building rapport and creating a sense of connection. This behavior is often unconscious, but it's a strong indicator that she's attuned to you and wants to establish a bond. The Stoics emphasized the importance of observation and self-awareness, and understanding the concept of mirroring can provide valuable insights into a woman's feelings. When she mirrors your body language, she's essentially signaling that she's in sync with you, both physically and emotionally. This mirroring can create a sense of harmony and mutual understanding, which are key components of any successful relationship. Pay attention to how she positions herself in relation to you. If you cross your arms, does she do the same? If you lean in closer, does she mirror that movement? These subtle cues can reveal a lot about her level of interest and attraction. Mirroring is a way for her to communicate that she's on the same wavelength as you, which can be a powerful indicator of romantic interest. In addition to physical gestures, mirroring can also extend to vocal patterns and speech. If you notice that she starts to match your tone of voice, speech rhythm, or even word choice, it's a strong sign that she's trying to build rapport with you. This kind of verbal mirroring is another way of creating a sense of connection and intimacy. It's also important to consider the context in which the mirroring occurs. If she consistently mirrors your body language in different settings, whether you're having a deep conversation, enjoying a casual outing, or even just sitting together, it's a strong indicator that she's genuinely interested in you. The Stoics taught the value of consistency in behavior, and this principle applies to understanding the significance of mirroring in romantic interactions. Furthermore, mirroring can be a sign of comfort and trust. When a woman feels at ease around you, she's more likely to mirror your actions because it reflects her desire to establish a connection. This mirroring can create a feedback loop, where the more she mirrors you, the more connected you both feel, reinforcing the bond between you. However, it's important to note that not all mirroring is conscious or deliberate. Sometimes, people mirror others simply because they feel comfortable and at ease, without any romantic intentions. The Stoics believed in the importance of discernment, and this wisdom can be applied to interpreting mirroring behavior. Look for other signs of attraction in conjunction with mirroring to get a clearer picture of her feelings. In conclusion, when a woman mirrors your body language, it's a strong sign that she's interested in you and is trying to establish a deeper connection. This subconscious behavior reflects her desire to create rapport and harmony with you, which are essential components of any romantic relationship. By recognizing and responding to these cues, you can strengthen the bond between you and potentially take your relationship to the next level. The Stoics emphasized the importance of observation and self-awareness, and these principles are key to understanding the role of mirroring in romantic attraction. As we've explored throughout this episode, the subtle signs a woman displays can reveal a lot about her true feelings. From the seemingly coincidental run-ins to the deliberate physical touch and mirroring of your body language, these behaviors are often much more than mere friendliness. They are signals of her interest in you. The Stoics, in their wisdom, mastered the art of observing and interpreting human behavior without allowing emotions to cloud their judgment. By applying this same mindset, you can better understand the intentions behind a woman's actions and avoid jumping to conclusions. Recognize the patterns, be mindful of the context, and trust your instincts, guided by rationality and evidence. Remember, attraction is a complex dance of signals, and while these signs can provide strong clues, it's essential to remain patient and respectful in your interactions. Don't rush to conclusions or put pressure on the situation. Instead, allow the relationship to develop naturally with mutual respect and understanding. Thank you for watching this episode. If you've recognized any of these signs in your own experiences, or if you have stories to share, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who might find it helpful. Your engagement not only helps our community grow, but also sends a powerful signal that you're dedicated to mastering the psychology of relationships. Until next time, remember to stay observant, stay mindful, and always seek to understand the deeper intentions behind the actions of others. The journey to mastering the psychology of attraction is ongoing, and with each step, you're becoming more attuned to the subtle language of human connection. Throughout history, the Stoics, known for their deep philosophical insights, have delved into understanding human nature, emotions, and the dynamics of relationships. Their teachings, which emphasize self-control, patience, and wisdom, provide a profound foundation for understanding the complexities of human interactions, particularly when it comes to the psychology of women. In this episode, we're going to explore some critical aspects of female psychology that often go unnoticed, particularly when it comes to physical intimacy. There are certain points on a woman's body that require more than just physical touch. They demand understanding, respect, and sensitivity. Before you engage with these areas, it's essential to know what you're doing, how it affects her, and the potential impact on your relationship. Ignorance in this area can lead to misunderstandings, discomfort, and even long-term emotional consequences. Make sure to watch this video until the end to gain valuable insights that could transform your understanding of intimacy and enhance your relationships. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Let's dive into the world of female psychology and uncover the truths that every man should know. Chapter 1: Avoiding Harmful Practices. When it comes to physical intimacy, the line between pleasure and discomfort can sometimes be razor thin, especially when one lacks the proper knowledge or sensitivity. The Stoics, with their emphasis on wisdom and careful deliberation, teach us the importance of approaching every action with forethought and consideration. This principle is particularly crucial when engaging in intimate practices with a partner. The body, especially a woman's, is complex and sensitive, with areas that require a delicate touch and an understanding of what brings comfort versus what could cause harm. One of the primary dangers in intimacy is the tendency to be too rough or too forceful, either due to enthusiasm or misunderstanding what your partner desires. Many men, driven by a misguided notion of what is pleasurable, might believe that being vigorous is always better. However, without tuning into her responses, both verbal and non-verbal, this approach can quickly turn a potentially positive experience into one that leaves her feeling uncomfortable or even in pain. The Stoics would caution against such impulsive behavior. They would advise that every touch, Every move should be measured, intentional, and responsive to the needs and reactions of your partner. Consider, for example, the importance of communication in intimacy. Many harmful practices arise not from a desire to hurt, but from a lack of communication. If you assume what she likes or needs without asking, you risk crossing boundaries that she may not have voiced out loud. Stoic wisdom encourages us to listen and to observe carefully. This means paying close attention to her body language, the way she breathes, and the sounds she makes. If she tenses up, pulls away, or seems less engaged, these are signs that something might be wrong, and it's crucial to address it immediately. The Stoics teach us that being attentive and adaptable in our actions is a form of respect, a way to honor the person we are with. Moreover, harmful practices aren't just about physical actions, but also about the environment and mindset in which intimacy takes place. Creating an atmosphere where she feels pressured or rushed can be just as damaging as any physical misstep. The Stoics valued patience and believed in the virtue of creating space for natural, unforced experiences. When you rush intimacy or make her feel like she needs to hurry up, you rob her of the opportunity to fully relax and engage in the experience. This not only diminishes her pleasure, but also erodes the trust and connection between you. True intimacy, according to Stoic principles, is about being fully present and allowing the experience to unfold at its own pace. There's also the matter of understanding the physical sensitivities of a woman's body. Certain areas, such as the clitoris or the breasts, are highly sensitive and require a gentle touch. Misunderstanding this can lead to discomfort or even pain, turning what should be a moment of pleasure into one of tension. The Stoics would argue that it's not enough to know where these sensitive areas are, you must also understand how to engage with them in a way that enhances her experience rather than detracting from it. This means using a light touch, varying pressure based on her responses, and never assuming that what worked before will always work. Lastly, avoiding harmful practices involves a commitment to ongoing learning and self-improvement. Just as the Stoics believed in the continuous pursuit of knowledge and self-mastery, so too should one approach intimacy as a skill that can always be refined. This means being open to feedback, willing to try new things, and constantly striving to be more attuned to your partner's needs. Harm often comes from ignorance or a refusal to grow, but by embracing the Stoic ideal of lifelong learning, you can avoid these pitfalls and become a more considerate and skilled partner. In conclusion, the Stoics remind us that wisdom, patience, and understanding are key to avoiding harmful practices in intimacy. It's about more than just avoiding physical pain, it's about creating a safe, trusting environment where your partner can fully enjoy the experience. By approaching intimacy with the same deliberation and thoughtfulness that the Stoics applied to all aspects of life, you not only enhance your partner's pleasure, but also strengthen the emotional bond between you. Remember, in the realm of intimacy, as in all things, the Stoics teach us that it is better to act with care and intention than to rush blindly forward. Chapter 2: Understanding Women's Preferences. When it comes to intimacy, one of the most crucial aspects that often gets overlooked is understanding a woman's preferences. This chapter delves deep into the significance of knowing what she likes and dislikes before venturing into physical contact. The Stoics, who mastered the art of self-awareness and the understanding of others, would emphasize the importance of gaining knowledge before taking action. The title of this video, "Avoid Touching These Points Until You Know," serves as a reminder that ignorance can lead to mistakes, especially when it comes to something as delicate as intimacy. Understanding a woman's preferences is not just about avoiding mistakes, it's about enhancing her experience and making her feel valued and respected. Every woman is different, and what one finds pleasurable, another might find uncomfortable or even painful. This variation means that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to intimacy. The Stoics would advise taking the time to learn and appreciate these differences, as understanding is key to avoiding missteps that could harm your relationship. One of the most effective ways to understand her preferences is through open and honest communication. Ask her what she likes, what feels good, and what she'd prefer to avoid. This conversation might seem daunting at first, but it's essential for creating a safe and enjoyable experience for both partners. The Stoics believed in the value of dialogue and reflection. They would suggest that such discussions not only help in avoiding physical discomfort, but also in building a deeper emotional connection. Another important aspect of understanding her preferences is to observe her responses during intimate moments. The body language, facial expressions, and even her breathing can provide invaluable clues about what she enjoys. If she tenses up when you touch a certain area, or if she seems more relaxed and responsive when you focus elsewhere, these are signs that you should pay attention to. The Stoics taught that wisdom comes from careful observation and reflection. In the context of intimacy, this means being attuned to her nonverbal cues and adjusting your actions accordingly. It's also worth noting that preferences can change over time or even from one moment to the next. What she enjoyed last week might not be what she's in the mood for today. This fluidity is something that the Stoics would recognize as part of the ever-changing nature of life. They would encourage you to approach each intimate encounter with a fresh perspective, free from assumptions or expectations based on past experiences. By doing so, you respect her autonomy and acknowledge that her desires are dynamic, not static. Furthermore, understanding her preferences means recognizing the importance of the mental and emotional aspects of intimacy. Women's pleasure is often deeply connected to how they feel emotionally. If she feels stressed, anxious, or disconnected, it's unlikely that she'll fully enjoy the experience, no matter what physical actions you take. The Stoics, with their focus on the mind-body connection, would advise you to ensure that she's in a positive mental state before initiating physical contact. This might involve talking through any concerns she has, creating a comfortable and relaxing environment, or simply taking the time to connect emotionally before moving on to the physical aspects of intimacy. In conclusion, the Stoics would remind us that knowledge and understanding are the foundation of any successful endeavor, including intimacy. By taking the time to learn about her preferences, you not only avoid potential mistakes, but also create a more meaningful and pleasurable experience for both of you. Remember, intimacy is not just about physical actions, it's about connecting on a deeper level and ensuring that both partners feel valued and respected. Avoid touching those sensitive points until you know what she truly desires, and in doing so, you'll strengthen the bond between you and your partner. Chapter 3: Navigating Physical and Emotional Appeal. The concept of attraction extends far beyond physical appearance. It's a complex interplay of both physical and emotional factors that determine how connected and attracted two people feel towards each other. The Stoics, who were masters of human psychology, understood that true appeal comes from within as much as it does from the outside. In the context of intimacy, this means that touching the wrong points, whether they be physical areas of her body or emotional triggers, can create distance rather than closeness. When we talk about navigating physical and emotional appeal, we're referring to the careful balance of understanding what draws your partner in and what could potentially push her away. The Stoics would argue that self-awareness and mindfulness are crucial in this process. Knowing yourself and your own tendencies can help you avoid actions that might harm the relationship. For instance, if you have a tendency to become overly focused on physical pleasure, the Stoics would remind you to take a step back and consider the emotional context as well. One of the key elements of maintaining physical and emotional appeal is the ability to adapt to your partner's needs and desires. What worked in the beginning of the relationship might not work as well later on. The Stoics believed in the importance of flexibility and adaptation in all areas of life, including relationships. They would advise you to remain open to change and to continuously seek to understand your partner's evolving needs. This might involve altering your approach to physical intimacy, being more attentive to her emotional state, or simply being present and engaged in the moment. Physical appeal, while important, is not the sole determinant of attraction. The way you carry yourself, your confidence, your ability to communicate, and your emotional intelligence all play a significant role in how attractive you are to your partner. The Stoics placed a high value on virtues such as wisdom, courage, and self-control, all of which contribute to a person's overall appeal. In the context of intimacy, this means being in control of your actions, making wise choices that consider your partner's feelings, and having the courage to address any issues that arise. Emotional appeal, on the other hand, is closely tied to how safe and valued your partner feels in the relationship. The Stoics understood that emotions are powerful and can either strengthen or weaken a bond. To maintain emotional appeal, it's important to be attuned to your partner's feelings, to offer support and understanding, and to create an environment where she feels secure and loved. This doesn't mean avoiding difficult conversations or pretending that everything is perfect. Instead, it involves being honest, open, and willing to work through challenges together. Another aspect of navigating physical and emotional appeal is understanding the impact of timing. The Stoics were keenly aware of the importance of timing in all things. In intimacy, this means recognizing when the moment is right for certain actions and when it's better to hold back. For example, initiating physical contact when she's not in the mood or pushing for emotional closeness when she needs space can backfire. The Stoics would advise patience and attentiveness, urging you to wait for the right moment rather than forcing things. In conclusion, the Stoics teach us that true appeal comes from a combination of physical presence and emotional connection. By being mindful of both aspects, you can avoid the pitfalls of focusing too much on one at the expense of the other. Remember, attraction is a holistic experience that involves both the body and the mind. By navigating these waters with care, wisdom, and patience, you ensure that your partner feels both physically and emotionally drawn to you, creating a deeper and more fulfilling connection. Chapter 4: Temperature and Sperm Health. The Stoics believed that every aspect of our lives should be approached with wisdom and moderation. This philosophy extends even to the seemingly mundane choices we make every day, such as the temperature of the water we use in the shower. It might surprise you, but the temperature of your showers can have a significant impact on sperm health and testosterone levels, factors that are crucial for male reproductive health. The testicles, where sperm is produced, function best at a temperature slightly cooler than the rest of the body. This is why they are located outside the main body cavity. Hot showers, baths, or other activities that raise the temperature of the testicles can impair sperm production and decrease sperm quality. This is not just a trivial concern. The Stoics would view it as an important aspect of maintaining bodily health, which is essential for fulfilling one's duties and responsibilities in life. Studies have shown that exposure to high temperatures, such as those found in hot showers or baths, can lead to a temporary reduction in sperm count. This is because the heat can disrupt the normal function of the testicles, leading to a decrease in sperm production. The Stoics, who valued self-discipline and control, would likely advise against excessively hot showers as a measure of prudence and care for one's body. Just as they would recommend temperance in food and drink, they would also suggest moderation in the temperature of your daily baths or showers. Testosterone, the hormone that plays a crucial role in male health and reproductive function, can also be affected by high temperatures. Testosterone levels are highest when the body is kept cool, and anything that raises body temperature, such as prolonged exposure to hot water, can potentially lower testosterone levels. The Stoics would encourage awareness of these effects and suggest adjusting your habits to ensure that you are not inadvertently harming your reproductive health. If you're trying to conceive or simply want to maintain optimal sperm health, consider taking cooler showers, especially before bed. Not only can this help preserve sperm health, but cooler showers are also known to have other health benefits, such as improving circulation and reducing stress. The Stoics, who often practiced cold water baths as a form of temperance and self-control, would approve of this practice as a way to strengthen both body and mind. In summary, the temperature of your showers might seem like a small detail, but it can have a significant impact on your reproductive health. The Stoics would advise you to be mindful of this and to choose moderation over excess. By making small adjustments, such as opting for cooler showers, you can help protect your sperm health, maintain your testosterone levels, and ensure that your body is functioning at its best. Chapter 5: Avoiding Unhealthy Habits. The Stoics believed that a life of virtue and wisdom required the avoidance of unhealthy habits that could harm the body, mind, or spirit. When it comes to maintaining reproductive health and overall well-being, there are several critical practices that should be avoided. The title of this video, "Avoid Touching These Points Until You Know," can be seen as a metaphor for steering clear of habits that could negatively impact your health and, by extension, your relationships. One of the most significant unhealthy habits to avoid is smoking. Smoking has been shown to reduce sperm count, decrease sperm motility, and increase the risk of erectile dysfunction. The Stoics, who valued self-discipline and control, would strongly advise against smoking as a way to protect both your physical health and your capacity to fulfill your duties in life. They would remind you that each cigarette smoked is a step away from health and vitality, and that true strength lies in the ability to resist harmful temptations. Excessive alcohol consumption is another habit that can have detrimental effects on reproductive health. Alcohol can lower testosterone levels, impair sperm production, and lead to erectile dysfunction. The Stoics advocated for moderation in all things, including alcohol. They would counsel you to drink in moderation, if at all, and to be mindful of the long-term consequences of excessive drinking. For the Stoics, the pursuit of pleasure should never come at the expense of health or virtue. Poor diet is another factor that can negatively affect reproductive health. A diet high in processed foods, sugars, and unhealthy fats can lead to obesity, which is associated with lower testosterone levels, reduced sperm quality, and an increased risk of infertility. The Stoics, who believed in the importance of nourishing the body with wholesome foods, would advise you to adopt a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. They would encourage you to view food as fuel for the body and to choose foods that promote health and vitality. Lack of exercise is another unhealthy habit that can impact reproductive health. Regular physical activity is essential for maintaining a healthy weight, boosting testosterone levels, and improving sperm quality. The Stoics, who valued physical fitness as a means of maintaining the body's strength and resilience, would advise you to incorporate regular exercise into your routine. They would remind you that a strong body is better equipped to face the challenges of life and that physical health is the foundation of a virtuous and fulfilling life. Finally, chronic stress is an often overlooked factor that can have a significant impact on reproductive health. Stress can lead to hormonal imbalances, lower testosterone levels, and impaired sperm production. The Stoics, who believed in the power of the mind to influence the body, would advise you to manage stress through practices such as mindfulness, meditation, and deep breathing exercises. They would remind you that inner peace and tranquility are essential for maintaining both mental and physical health. In conclusion, the Stoics teach us that avoiding unhealthy habits is essential for maintaining reproductive health and overall well-being. By practicing moderation, self-discipline, and mindfulness, you can protect your body and ensure that you are living in accordance with the principles of wisdom and virtue. Remember, every choice you make has an impact on your health and your ability to live a fulfilling life. Avoid these harmful practices, and you'll be better equipped to face life's challenges with strength and resilience. Chapter 6: Navigating Relationships and Attraction. Attraction and relationship success are deeply intertwined with how we navigate our interactions with others, especially with women. The Stoics, who valued wisdom, self-control, and understanding, would remind us that certain behaviors can either enhance or detract from our attractiveness and the success of our relationships. In this chapter, we explore key behaviors to avoid in order to foster positive, fulfilling relationships with women. One of the most important behaviors to avoid is neediness. Women are often attracted to men who are confident, self-assured, and independent. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-sufficiency and the ability to stand strong in the face of adversity. They would advise against clinging to a woman for validation or approval, as this can come across as needy and insecure. Instead, the Stoics would encourage you to cultivate inner strength and self-confidence, which are far more attractive qualities. Another behavior to avoid is dishonesty. Trust is the foundation of any successful relationship, and dishonesty can quickly erode that trust. The Stoics, who valued honesty and integrity, would counsel you to always be truthful and transparent in your interactions with women. They would remind you that a relationship built on lies is destined to fail, while one founded on truth and mutual respect can flourish. Honesty not only fosters trust, but also deepens the emotional connection between partners. A third behavior to avoid is being overly critical or judgmental. While it's important to have standards, constantly criticizing or judging your partner can create tension and resentment in the relationship. The Stoics, who practiced empathy and understanding, would advise you to be mindful of your words and actions. They would encourage you to focus on your partner's positive qualities and to approach any issues with kindness and compassion. By doing so, you create a more supportive and loving environment that enhances the relationship. Another key behavior to avoid is failing to listen. Communication is a two-way street, and being a good listener is essential for maintaining a healthy relationship. The Stoics, who valued the art of conversation and the exchange of ideas, would remind you that listening is just as important as speaking. They would advise you to be fully present in your interactions with women, to listen attentively to their thoughts and feelings, and to respond with understanding and empathy. By being a good listener, you show that you value your partner's perspective and are committed to building a strong, lasting connection. Finally, the Stoics would caution against being passive or indecisive. Women are often attracted to men who take initiative and demonstrate leadership qualities. The Stoics believed in the importance of taking action and making decisions with confidence and clarity. They would advise you to be assertive in your relationships, to take the lead when necessary, and to be decisive in your actions. By doing so, you project confidence and strength, which are qualities that women find attractive. In summary, the Stoics teach us that navigating relationships and attraction requires wisdom, self-control, and a deep understanding of human nature. By avoiding behaviors such as neediness, dishonesty, criticism, poor listening, and passivity, you can enhance your attractiveness and increase the likelihood of relationship success. Remember, true attraction comes from within, and the qualities that make you a better person also make you a more desirable partner. Cultivate these qualities, and you'll find that your relationships with women become more fulfilling and successful. Chapter 7: Why you should avoid touching her anus at first. In the realm of physical intimacy, respecting boundaries is far more than just a courteous gesture. It is the cornerstone of cultivating a healthy and trusting relationship. Especially when it comes to particularly sensitive and deeply personal areas such as the anus, this respect becomes even more critical. The anus is not just a physically sensitive area, it carries significant emotional and psychological weight for many people. Engaging with this area without explicit and informed consent can lead to discomfort, anxiety, or even emotional trauma. Such negative experiences have the potential to undermine trust and intimacy, causing long-lasting damage to the relationship. Before even contemplating any form of touch or stimulation involving the anus, it is essential to have an open and honest conversation with your partner. This discussion should be comprehensive and nuanced, addressing not only your partner's feelings and boundaries, but also their comfort levels and expectations. Effective communication in this context is not simply about expressing your own desires, it is about actively listening to and respecting your partner's views and feelings. Clear, empathetic dialogue demonstrates a deep respect for each person's limits and helps to create a supportive and healthy emotional environment. Without this crucial step, there is a significant risk of imposing unwanted experiences on your partner, which can severely damage the trust and connection you have worked so hard to build. The physical sensitivity of the anus necessitates a highly careful and informed approach. This area requires specific knowledge and preparation to ensure that any touch is both safe and pleasurable. An uninformed or careless approach can result in physical pain or harm, potentially causing lasting negative impacts on the relationship. This underscores the importance of not rushing into such intimate actions without adequate understanding and preparation. Each interaction with this sensitive area must be approached with thoughtful consideration, respecting the partner's physical and emotional boundaries to avoid any discomfort or distress. Beyond the physical aspects, the psychological implications of touching the anus are deeply significant. The anus is often regarded as an intensely private part of the body, and touching it without a complete understanding of your partner's emotional and psychological readiness can feel invasive or disrespectful. Recognizing and respecting these boundaries is essential for building a deeper, more meaningful connection. This respect contributes to a relationship based on mutual understanding and empathy, where both partners feel valued and secure in their interactions. It is also important to acknowledge that building trust around such intimate actions is a process that takes time. Rushing into any form of touch involving the anus without thorough mutual understanding and agreement can lead to feelings of intrusion or disrespect. Patience and sensitivity are key in ensuring that any exploration of this area is conducted with mutual consent and care. This approach not only enhances the physical experience, but also supports the emotional and psychological well-being of both partners, promoting a more positive and fulfilling intimate relationship. In summary, the necessity of avoiding any touch involving the anus until there is a comprehensive mutual understanding and agreement cannot be overstated. This approach addresses not only the physical aspects of pleasure, but also the deeper emotional and psychological dimensions of intimacy. By practicing clear communication, patience, and sensitivity, you contribute to a more harmonious and satisfying intimate experience. Building a relationship founded on trust, respect, and mutual pleasure fosters a deeper connection and ensures that both partners feel truly valued and understood. This respect extends beyond the initial stages of a relationship and continues to be vital as the relationship progresses. Over time, as trust deepens and the relationship evolves, partners may become more comfortable discussing and exploring new areas of intimacy. However, even in long-term relationships, the principles of communication, consent, and respect remain just as important. Each partner's comfort and readiness should always be considered, and boundaries should be revisited and renegotiated as needed. This ongoing dialogue not only prevents misunderstandings, but also reinforces the bond between partners, allowing for a more intimate and trusting relationship. Additionally, it is important to recognize that everyone's boundaries and comfort levels are unique and can change over time. What may be acceptable or enjoyable for one partner may not be for another. Therefore, it is crucial to approach each situation with an open mind and a willingness to adapt. Flexibility and a non-judgmental attitude can help create a safe space where both partners feel free to express their desires, concerns, and boundaries. This mutual respect and understanding pave the way for a more fulfilling and harmonious intimate relationship. In conclusion, touching the anus or any other sensitive area should never be taken lightly or approached casually. It requires a deep level of trust, communication, and mutual respect. By prioritizing these elements and taking the time to understand and respect your partner's boundaries, you can create a more meaningful and satisfying connection. Whether you are in the early stages of a relationship or have been together for years, these principles remain essential for fostering a healthy, loving, and intimate partnership. Ultimately, it is this foundation of respect and understanding that allows both partners to feel truly valued and cherished in their relationship. Throughout history, the Stoics have been revered for their wisdom, their understanding of the human condition, and their mastery over their own emotions. But what many don't realize is that these philosophers also had a deep understanding of human relationships, particularly the intricate dynamics between men and women. The Stoics knew that to truly connect with another person, one must not only be attuned to their own mind and body, but also to the subtle cues and needs of their partner. In the realm of intimacy, this means understanding the complexities of female pleasure, a knowledge that, even today, only a small percentage of men truly grasp. In this video, we're going to delve into the secrets that only 1% of men know about women's pleasure. These are insights grounded not only in psychology, but also in ancient wisdom. By mastering these principles, you'll be able to deepen your connection with your partner, ensuring that your intimate moments are not just physically satisfying, but also emotionally and spiritually fulfilling. So, watch this video till the end, and if you find it valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share your own experiences. Let's explore together how you can elevate your understanding of female pleasure to a level that few men ever reach. Chapter 1. Take your time. One of the most profound lessons imparted by the Stoics is the value of patience, a virtue that extends far beyond the realms of philosophy and into every facet of life, including the most intimate aspects of human connection. The Stoics understood that the best things in life are often those that are carefully nurtured, developed over time, and approached with a sense of deliberation and mindfulness. In the context of intimacy, this wisdom is particularly relevant. Women's pleasure is not something to be hurried or treated as a mere goal to be achieved. It is an experience that requires time, attention, and a deep understanding of her body, mind, and emotions. Taking your time in intimacy is not merely about extending the duration of the physical act. It is about creating an environment where true connection can flourish. It's about building anticipation, cultivating a sense of safety and trust, and allowing both partners to fully immerse themselves in the experience. When you approach intimacy with patience, you grant both yourself and your partner the space to explore, to communicate, and to truly be present with one another. This presence is essential because intimacy is as much about emotional and mental engagement as it is about physical pleasure. Rushing through intimacy often leads to a disconnect, where the focus shifts from mutual enjoyment to the pursuit of an endpoint. This approach not only diminishes the experience, but also risks overlooking the subtle cues and signals that your partner may be giving. Women, in particular, may express their needs and desires in ways that require careful attention and sensitivity. The Stoics, who advocated for a calm and thoughtful approach to life, would likely advise against any form of haste in intimate matters. Instead, they would encourage you to slow down, to attune yourself to your partner's rhythms, and to embrace the journey rather than fixating on the destination. Taking your time also serves a deeper psychological purpose. Women's pleasure is intricately tied to their emotional state. If a woman feels rushed, pressured, or undervalued, it is unlikely that she will be able to fully engage in the experience. On the contrary, when a woman feels that her partner is genuinely interested in her pleasure, willing to take the time to explore her needs and respond to her desires, she is far more likely to relax, let go of any inhibitions, and open herself to the experience. This state of relaxation is crucial for achieving not just physical pleasure, but also a deeper emotional connection. Furthermore, when you take your time, you allow for a more thorough exploration of her body. Intimacy is not limited to the obvious erogenous zones. Every woman's body is unique, with its own set of sensitive areas that respond to touch in different ways. By taking the time to discover these areas, you demonstrate a genuine interest in her pleasure that goes beyond the superficial. This exploration can be incredibly rewarding, both physically and emotionally, as it shows her that you are not simply going through the motions, but are fully engaged in the process of making her feel good. The act of slowing down also creates an opportunity for both partners to communicate more effectively. In the heat of the moment, it can be easy to overlook or misinterpret what your partner is trying to convey. However, when you approach intimacy with patience and care, you give yourselves the space to communicate openly and honestly about what feels good, what doesn't, and what you both need to feel satisfied. This kind of communication is essential for building trust and deepening your connection, and it can transform your intimate encounters from mere physical acts into deeply meaningful experiences. The Stoics believed that the best way to approach any situation was with a calm and composed mind. In intimacy, this means setting aside your ego, your insecurities, and your preconceptions about what should happen, and instead focusing entirely on the present moment and your partner's experience. By taking your time, you allow yourself to be fully present, to listen to your partner's needs, and to respond in a way that is thoughtful and considerate. This mindfulness not only enhances the physical experience, but also creates a sense of emotional closeness that is often lacking in hurried or transactional encounters. In addition, taking your time allows you to savor the experience in a way that is impossible when you are rushing. Every touch, every kiss, every moment of connection becomes more meaningful when you are not preoccupied with reaching a particular outcome. This approach aligns with the Stoic principle of living in accordance with nature, of being fully engaged with life as it unfolds, rather than constantly striving for more or better. When you slow down and take your time, you are able to appreciate the beauty and complexity of your partner's body and the intimacy you share, which in turn deepens your sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Finally, it's important to recognize that taking your time is not just about prolonging the physical act of sex. It's about creating a space where both partners feel valued, respected, and cared for. It's about acknowledging that true intimacy is not something that can be achieved through speed or efficiency, but through patience, understanding, and a willingness to be vulnerable with one another. By embracing the Stoic principle of patience in your intimate life, you are not only enhancing your partner's pleasure, but also cultivating a relationship that is built on trust, respect, and genuine connection. In conclusion, taking your time is one of the most important things you can do to ensure that your partner experiences true pleasure. This principle, deeply rooted in Stoic wisdom, will serve you well in all aspects of your relationship. Intimacy is not a race, it is a journey, and the slower you go, the more rewarding the destination will be. By slowing down, being present, and focusing on your partner's experience, you can transform your intimate moments into profound acts of connection that resonate far beyond the physical. This is the essence of true intimacy, understanding that every moment, every touch, every word has the power to deepen your relationship and bring you closer together. Chapter 2. Pay attention to her needs. In the teachings of the Stoics, attention is a cornerstone of wisdom. They believed that to live a meaningful life, one must pay close attention to the world around them, to the actions and feelings of others, and to the subtle nuances that often go unnoticed by the unobservant. This principle applies directly to the realm of intimacy, where a man's ability to pay attention to his partner's needs can be the difference between a fleeting encounter and a deeply satisfying experience. Paying attention to her needs means more than just being physically present. It requires a deep and genuine interest in understanding what she desires, what she enjoys, and what makes her feel safe and valued. This attention begins long before you enter the bedroom. It starts with noticing the small things, how she reacts to different situations, what makes her smile, what makes her feel appreciated. These observations allow you to tailor your approach to intimacy in a way that feels personal and thoughtful, rather than generic or routine. In the context of intimacy, paying attention to her needs involves tuning into her verbal and nonverbal cues. Every woman is different, and what works for one may not work for another. By listening to her words, her breath, her moans, and even the way her body moves, you can begin to understand what she enjoys and what she doesn't. This attentiveness is not just about avoiding mistakes, it's about creating an experience that is truly tailored to her desires. The Stoics taught that wisdom comes from understanding others, and in intimacy, this wisdom manifests as the ability to meet your partner's needs in a way that makes her feel seen, heard, and cherished. Moreover, paying attention to her needs means being adaptable. A woman's desires can change from moment to moment, and what she enjoyed yesterday may not be what she craves today. Being attentive means being flexible and willing to adjust your approach based on her current mood, energy levels, and emotional state. This adaptability is crucial because it shows her that you are not just going through the motions, but are genuinely engaged in the process of making her feel good. The Stoics believed in the importance of living in the present moment, and this is particularly relevant in intimacy. Paying attention to her needs requires you to be fully present, to set aside distractions, and to focus entirely on the experience at hand. This presence allows you to notice the little things that can make a big difference in her pleasure, whether it's the way she responds to a certain touch, the way her body tenses or relaxes, or the look in her eyes when she feels truly connected to you. By being present, you can respond to her needs in real time, adjusting your approach to maximize her pleasure and deepen your connection. In addition to physical cues, paying attention to her needs also involves understanding her emotional and psychological state. Women's pleasure is deeply connected to their emotions, and if she feels stressed, anxious, or disconnected, it's unlikely that she will be able to fully enjoy the experience. By paying attention to her needs, you can create an environment where she feels emotionally safe and supported. This might involve talking through any concerns she has, offering reassurance, or simply being there to listen. The Stoics valued empathy and compassion, and these qualities are essential for creating a space where your partner feels comfortable enough to fully let go and immerse herself in the experience. Another aspect of paying attention to her needs is recognizing the importance of aftercare. The moments following intimacy are just as important as the act itself. Paying attention to her needs means being attuned to what she requires in these moments, whether it's cuddling, talking, or simply being left alone to rest. By addressing her needs after intimacy, you demonstrate that your care and attention extend beyond the physical act, reinforcing the emotional connection and making her feel valued as a whole person. The Stoics believed that love and intimacy were about giving rather than taking, about focusing on the needs of others rather than solely on one's own desires. In intimacy, paying attention to her needs is the embodiment of this philosophy. It's about prioritizing her pleasure, her comfort, and her emotional well-being over your own ego or desires. This selflessness not only enhances her experience, but also strengthens the bond between you, creating a relationship that is based on mutual respect, trust, and deep affection. In conclusion, paying attention to her needs is not just a technique for enhancing physical pleasure, it's a way of living the Stoic principles of wisdom, empathy, and compassion in your intimate life. By being present, adaptable, and genuinely interested in understanding your partner's desires, you can create an experience that is both physically satisfying and emotionally fulfilling. This level of attentiveness transforms intimacy from a mere physical act into a profound expression of love and connection, deepening your relationship and bringing you closer together in a way that resonates on a much deeper level. Chapter 3: Map Her Body. The Stoics believed that knowledge was the key to understanding the world and navigating life's challenges. In the realm of intimacy, this philosophy can be applied to the concept of mapping her body. Just as a philosopher seeks to understand the complexities of the universe, a man who truly wishes to please his partner must seek to understand the intricacies of her body, its unique sensitivities, its rhythms, and the ways in which it responds to touch. Mapping her body is about more than just physical exploration, it's about gaining a deep, intuitive understanding of what makes her feel good. Every woman's body is different, and what works for one may not work for another. Therefore, the process of mapping her body requires patience, curiosity, and a willingness to explore without preconceived notions. The Stoics taught that one must approach life with an open mind, free from judgment or assumption, and this same approach is vital when exploring your partner's body. When mapping her body, it's important to approach the experience as a journey rather than a destination. The goal is not to rush through to find the right spots, but to take your time and enjoy the process of discovery. Begin with light touches, starting in non-obvious areas like her back, arms, and legs. Pay close attention to how her body responds. Does she tense up, relax, or perhaps shiver with pleasure? These reactions are clues that guide you in understanding what she enjoys and what she might prefer you to avoid. As you continue to explore, move to more sensitive areas, such as her neck, inner thighs, and lower back. Again, let her reactions guide you. This is where your attentiveness and presence come into play, as mentioned in the previous chapter. Every woman has unique erogenous zones, places on her body that are particularly responsive to touch. These may include the nape of her neck, the small of her back, or even the back of her knees. By taking the time to map these areas, you demonstrate that you are not just interested in the obvious or the routine, but that you are genuinely invested in her pleasure. The Stoics would remind you that mapping her body is not just about physical exploration, it's also about emotional connection. As you touch her, pay attention to the energy between you. Does she lean into your touch, or does she pull away? Is she relaxed and open, or does she seem guarded? These nonverbal cues are just as important as the physical ones, as they provide insight into her emotional state and how she's feeling in the moment. A Stoic would advise you to be mindful of these cues and to adjust your approach accordingly, ensuring that your touch is always welcome and desired. In addition to physical touch, consider how different types of stimulation might enhance her pleasure. For example, some women enjoy the sensation of breath on their skin, while others might respond to light scratching or the application of different textures, such as silk or feathers. This is all part of the process of mapping her body, understanding how different sensations affect her, and using this knowledge to create a more pleasurable and varied experience. It's also important to remember that mapping her body is an ongoing process. A woman's preferences can change over time, influenced by factors such as mood, stress levels, and even the dynamics of your relationship. Therefore, what she enjoyed last week may not be what she desires today. The Stoics taught that life is in a constant state of flux, and this principle applies to intimacy as well. By continually revisiting the process of mapping her body, you ensure that your understanding of her needs remains current and that your approach to intimacy evolves along with your relationship. Another key aspect of mapping her body is communication. While much can be learned through observation and touch, direct communication is essential for truly understanding what she enjoys. Encourage her to express what feels good, what doesn't, and what she'd like more of. This dialogue not only enhances her pleasure, but also builds trust and deepens the emotional connection between you. The Stoics valued honest and open communication as a foundation for strong relationships, and this principle is just as important in the bedroom as it is in other aspects of life. Moreover, mapping her body is not just about the physical act of sex, it's about exploring her entire body with curiosity and care. This includes areas that are often overlooked, such as her scalp, her hands, and her feet. These areas can be incredibly sensitive and responsive to touch, and exploring them can add a new dimension to your intimacy. By taking the time to map her body thoroughly, you demonstrate that you are invested in her pleasure in a holistic way, not just focused on the obvious or the routine. In conclusion, mapping her body is a crucial aspect of creating a deeply satisfying and meaningful intimate experience. By approaching this process with the curiosity of a philosopher and the attentiveness of a Stoic, you can gain a profound understanding of what makes her feel good. This knowledge not only enhances her pleasure, but also deepens the emotional connection between you, transforming your intimate moments into something truly special. Remember, Chapter 4, allow her to indicate when she is ready to receive. The Stoics often spoke of the importance of timing, of understanding when the moment is right for action and when it is better to wait. This wisdom is particularly relevant when it comes to intimacy, where allowing your partner to indicate when she is ready to receive is a fundamental aspect of creating a fulfilling experience. Patience, respect, and attentiveness are key elements in this process, and they all contribute to a deeper connection and a more pleasurable experience for both partners. Allowing her to indicate when she is ready to receive means giving her the space and time she needs to fully prepare herself, both physically and emotionally, for intimacy. Every woman's body and mind work at their own pace, and it's crucial to honor that pace rather than imposing your own expectations. The Stoics taught that wisdom involves recognizing the natural flow of life and adapting to it rather than trying to force it to bend to your will. In intimacy, this means being patient and attuned to your partner's signals, understanding that rushing her or pushing her before she is ready can create discomfort or even pain, rather than pleasure. One of the first steps in allowing her to indicate when she is ready is creating an environment where she feels safe and respected. This involves clear communication, both verbal and non-verbal, where you reassure her that she is in control of the pace and that her comfort is your priority. The Stoics believe that true power comes from self-control and the ability to create a harmonious environment. In the context of intimacy, this means exercising restraint and sensitivity, ensuring that she feels empowered to guide the experience according to her needs and desires. It's important to recognize that readiness is not just about physical arousal, but also about emotional and psychological preparedness. Women's pleasure is deeply connected to their state of mind, and if she is feeling stressed, anxious, or unsure, it's unlikely that she will be able to fully engage in the experience. Allowing her to indicate when she is ready involves paying attention to her emotional cues, her tone of voice, her body language, and even her energy levels. These indicators can tell you a lot about whether she is truly ready to proceed or whether she needs more time to relax and feel comfortable. The Stoics placed great value on the concept of consent, not just in the literal sense of agreeing to something, but in the deeper sense of enthusiastic participation. In intimacy, this means that she should not only agree to the physical act, but should be eager and willing to engage in it. Consent should be seen as an ongoing process rather than a one-time check. By allowing her to indicate when she is ready, you ensure that her participation is genuine and enthusiastic, which greatly enhances the pleasure and connection between you. Another important aspect of allowing her to indicate when she is ready is being attuned to her nonverbal communication. Often, women may feel hesitant to verbalize their needs or discomforts, especially if they are unsure of how their partner will react. This is where your attentiveness becomes crucial. The Stoics taught that much of life's wisdom comes from what is unsaid, from the subtle cues and signs that require careful observation to understand. In intimacy, this means watching for signs that she is not yet ready, perhaps a slight withdrawal, a tensing of her muscles, or a lack of enthusiasm in her responses. These signals should prompt you to slow down, check in with her, and ensure that she feels fully comfortable before proceeding. Timing is everything, and in the context of intimacy, rushing can lead to a disconnect that diminishes the experience for both partners. By allowing her to indicate when she is ready, you are demonstrating that you value her comfort and pleasure above all else. This not only deepens the trust between you, but also creates a sense of anticipation that can make the experience even more enjoyable. The Stoics would remind you that patience is not just about waiting, but about waiting with purpose, about understanding that the best things come to those who are willing to allow them to unfold naturally. Furthermore, allowing her to indicate when she is ready fosters a sense of mutual respect and equality in your relationship. It shows that you see her as an active participant in the experience, rather than just a passive recipient. This respect is crucial for building a strong emotional bond and ensuring that both partners feel valued and appreciated. The Stoics believed that respect for others was a cornerstone of a virtuous life, and this principle applies just as much to intimate relationships as it does to other aspects of life. It's also important to note that readiness can vary from moment to moment, and what feels right at one point in time may not feel right later on. By maintaining an open line of communication and being sensitive to her signals, you can ensure that the experience remains positive and enjoyable throughout. The Stoics taught that life is full of change and their wisdom lies in our ability to adapt to these changes with grace and understanding. In intimacy, this means being flexible and responsive to your partner's needs, ensuring that she feels supported and cared for at every stage of the experience. In conclusion, allowing her to indicate when she is ready to receive is a key aspect of creating a fulfilling and respectful intimate experience. It's a practice rooted in the Stoic principles of patience, respect, and attentiveness. By giving her the space and time she needs, and by being attuned to her signals, you can ensure that she feels fully comfortable and engaged, which greatly enhances the pleasure and connection between you. This approach not only honors her needs, but also deepens the emotional bond between you, creating a relationship that is built on mutual trust, respect, and understanding. Chapter 5. Focus on the clitoris. The Stoics believed in the power of knowledge and understanding, emphasizing the importance of focusing on what truly matters in life. In the context of intimacy, focusing on the clitoris is one of the most crucial aspects of ensuring a woman's pleasure. The clitoris, often referred to as the pleasure center, is a small but incredibly powerful part of a woman's anatomy, and giving it the attention it deserves can transform the intimate experience for both partners. Focusing on the clitoris requires a deep understanding of its significance in female pleasure. Unlike other parts of the body, the clitoris is solely dedicated to pleasure, with thousands of nerve endings concentrated in a tiny area. This makes it incredibly sensitive and responsive to touch, but it also requires a gentle and thoughtful approach. The Stoics taught that wisdom comes from understanding the essence of things, and in intimacy, this means recognizing that the clitoris is not just another erogenous zone, but the key to unlocking a woman's full potential for pleasure. One of the first things to understand about focusing on the clitoris is that it's not just about direct stimulation. While direct touch can be highly pleasurable, it can also be overwhelming if not done with care. The Stoics believed in moderation and balance, and this principle applies perfectly here. Start with light, indirect touches, using your fingers, lips, or even breath to stimulate the area around the clitoris before moving to more direct contact. This gradual build-up not only heightens her arousal, but also ensures that the sensation remains pleasurable rather than overstimulating. Another important aspect of focusing on the clitoris is understanding that every woman is different. What works for one may not work for another, and the only way to truly understand what she enjoys is through attentive exploration and communication. The Stoics taught that true wisdom comes from adapting to the realities of the moment rather than imposing preconceived notions. In intimacy, this means being open to her feedback and willing to adjust your approach based on her responses. Encourage her to guide you, to show you what feels good, and to communicate her needs openly. This not only enhances her pleasure, but also builds trust and deepens your connection. It's also important to recognize that focusing on the clitoris doesn't have to be limited to the physical act of sex. Foreplay, which often includes clitoral stimulation, is a vital part of the experience and can greatly enhance the overall pleasure. The Stoics believed in the importance of preparation, of setting the stage for success in any endeavor. In intimacy, foreplay serves this purpose, allowing her to become fully aroused and ready for the next stage of the experience. By focusing on the clitoris during foreplay, you create a foundation of pleasure that can carry through the entire encounter. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of presence and mindfulness, of being fully engaged in the moment. When focusing on the clitoris, it's crucial to be present and attentive, to tune into her reactions and adjust your approach accordingly. This requires setting aside distractions and being fully committed to the experience. The more present you are, the more you'll be able to pick up on the subtle cues that indicate whether she's enjoying the stimulation or whether you need to change your approach. This level of attentiveness not only enhances her pleasure, but also deepens the emotional connection between you. In addition to manual stimulation, there are other ways to focus on the clitoris that can add variety and excitement to the experience. Oral sex, for example, is often one of the most effective ways to stimulate the clitoris, allowing for a combination of direct and indirect stimulation that can be incredibly pleasurable. The Stoics believed in the importance of variety and adaptability, and incorporating different techniques into your intimate repertoire can keep the experience fresh and exciting. The key is to remain attentive to her responses and to be willing to experiment with different approaches until you find what works best for her. It's also worth noting that focusing on the clitoris is not just about the physical act itself, but about creating an environment where she feels comfortable and confident enough to fully enjoy the experience. This involves building trust, communicating openly, and ensuring that she feels respected and valued. The Stoics taught that the foundation of any meaningful relationship is mutual respect and understanding, and this principle is just as important in intimacy as it is in other aspects of life. Chapter 6. Don't forget the G-spot. The Stoics emphasized the importance of recognizing the complexities and nuances of life. When it comes to female pleasure, one of these nuances is the G-spot, a highly sensitive area within the vagina that, when stimulated correctly, can lead to intense pleasure and powerful orgasms. Understanding and not neglecting this often overlooked aspect of female anatomy can greatly enhance the intimate experience for both partners, deepening your connection and mutual satisfaction. The G-spot is located on the upper wall of the vagina, a few inches inside, and is often described as having a slightly rougher texture compared to the surrounding area. It's not as easy to find as the clitoris, which is more accessible and straightforward to stimulate, but with patience and attentiveness, you can discover its location and unlock its potential. The Stoics would remind us that true understanding comes from careful observation and practice. In the context of intimacy, this means taking the time to explore her body with the goal of discovering what brings her the most pleasure. When it comes to stimulating the G-spot, the approach should be gentle and gradual. The Stoics believed in moderation and the avoidance of extremes, which is a wise approach here. Begin with slow, shallow movements and gradually increase the intensity as she becomes more aroused. The key is to listen to her body, pay attention to her breathing, her movements, and any verbal feedback she gives. These cues will guide you in adjusting your technique to provide the most pleasure. One of the best positions for G-spot stimulation is when she is lying on her back with her legs slightly bent. This position allows for deeper penetration and easier access to the G-spot. However, every woman is different, and experimenting with different angles and positions can help you find what works best for her. The Stoics would encourage you to be adaptable and open-minded, recognizing that what works in one situation may not work in another. This flexibility is key to ensuring that the experience is both enjoyable and fulfilling. It's important to note that the G-spot responds differently at different times. Sometimes it might be highly sensitive and easily stimulated, while at other times, it may require more effort or a different approach. The Stoics taught that wisdom lies in understanding the ebb and flow of life's experiences and adapting to them accordingly. In intimacy, this means being patient and not getting discouraged if you don't achieve the desired result right away. The journey of exploration and discovery is part of the experience, and with persistence and care, you can learn to stimulate the G-spot effectively. Combining G-spot stimulation with clitoral stimulation can often lead to what is known as a blended orgasm, which many women describe as an incredibly intense and satisfying experience. The Stoics believed in the importance of harmony and balance, and this concept applies here as well. By balancing the stimulation of both the clitoris and the G-spot, you can create a symphony of sensations that enhances her pleasure and deepens the connection between you. The key is to be attuned to her responses, adjusting your technique as needed to maintain that balance. Communication is essential when exploring the G-spot, just as it is in all aspects of intimacy. Encourage her to guide you, to tell you what feels good and what doesn't. The Stoics valued open dialogue and the sharing of wisdom, understanding that knowledge is best when it's shared and applied. In the same way, her feedback is invaluable in ensuring that you are providing her with the most pleasure possible. This open communication not only enhances the physical experience, but also builds trust and intimacy between you. Another aspect of G-spot stimulation to consider is that it can sometimes lead to female ejaculation, also known as squirting. This is a natural and normal response for some women, though not all women will experience it. The Stoics taught that we should accept life's events without judgment, and this applies here as well. If your partner does experience female ejaculation, embrace it as part of the experience rather than something to be concerned about. It's a sign that she is fully engaged and responsive to your touch, which is a positive outcome. It's also important to recognize that not all women will find G-spot stimulation pleasurable, and that's perfectly okay. The Stoics believed in the uniqueness of individuals and the importance of accepting people as they are. In intimacy, this means respecting your partner's preferences and boundaries. If she doesn't enjoy G-spot stimulation, there are plenty of other ways to ensure her pleasure. The key is to be responsive to her needs and willing to adapt your approach based on her feedback. In conclusion, not forgetting that G-spot is an important aspect of creating a fulfilling and pleasurable intimate experience. By understanding its significance, being patient and attentive, and communicating openly with your partner, you can enhance the experience for both of you. This approach, rooted in the Stoic principles of moderation, adaptability, and respect, ensures that your intimate encounters are both satisfying and meaningful. Chapter 7. Keep the momentum going. The Stoics often spoke of the importance of momentum in life, of maintaining a steady course and continuing to move forward, even when faced with challenges. This concept applies equally well to intimacy, where keeping the momentum going is essential for sustaining pleasure and deepening the connection between partners. Once you've built up arousal and excitement, it's crucial to maintain that energy and keep the experience flowing smoothly, avoiding interruptions or distractions that could diminish the intensity of the moment. Keeping the momentum going in intimacy involves both physical and mental aspects. Physically, it means maintaining a steady rhythm, adjusting your movements and techniques to ensure that her pleasure continues to build. The Stoics believed in the importance of consistency and perseverance, and these qualities are key to maintaining momentum during intimacy. Avoid sudden changes in pace or intensity that could disrupt the flow of the experience. Instead, focus on creating a seamless progression from one stage of arousal to the next, keeping her fully engaged and responsive. Mentally, keeping the momentum going involves staying present and focused on the moment. The Stoics taught the importance of mindfulness and being fully engaged in whatever you are doing. In intimacy, this means avoiding distractions and staying attuned to your partner's needs and responses. If you allow your mind to wander or become distracted by external factors, you risk losing the connection you've built and diminishing the intensity of the experience. Stay focused on her, on the sensations you are both experiencing, and on the shared journey you are on together. Communication is also a key component of maintaining momentum. The Stoics valued clear and open communication, understanding that it is the foundation of all meaningful relationships. During intimacy, this means checking in with your partner, ensuring that she is comfortable and enjoying the experience. It also means being responsive to her feedback, adjusting your approach as needed to maintain her pleasure. This ongoing dialogue helps to sustain the momentum, ensuring that the experience continues to be pleasurable and fulfilling for both of you. Another important aspect of keeping the momentum going is recognizing the natural ebb and flow of arousal. The Stoics taught that life is full of ups and downs, and this is true in intimacy as well. Arousal may build to a peak and then dip slightly before building again. The key is to ride these waves, maintaining a steady course and not allowing small dips in intensity to disrupt the overall flow of the experience. Be patient and persistent, understanding that momentum is not about maintaining a constant high, but about sustaining a smooth and enjoyable progression. Physical techniques can also play a role in keeping the momentum going. For example, alternating between different types of stimulation, such as oral, manual, and penetrative, can keep the experience fresh and exciting. The Stoics believed in the value of variety and adaptability, and incorporating different techniques into your intimate repertoire can help maintain momentum and prevent the experience from becoming monotonous. The key is to be attuned to your partner's responses, switching techniques as needed to keep her fully engaged and aroused. It's also important to be aware of potential interruptions or distractions that could disrupt the momentum. This could be anything from an unexpected noise to a shift in position that breaks the flow of the experience. The Stoics taught the importance of being prepared for the unexpected and remaining calm and focused in the face of challenges. In intimacy, this means being aware of potential disruptions and addressing them quickly and calmly so that you can return to the moment without losing the connection you've built. Keeping the momentum going also involves managing your own arousal and energy levels. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-control and moderation, understanding that excess in any form can lead to imbalance. In intimacy, this means pacing yourself and ensuring that you don't become overly excited too quickly, which could lead to a premature end to the experience. By managing your own arousal and staying in tune with your partner, you can maintain a steady momentum that allows both of you to fully enjoy the experience. Finally, keeping the momentum going is about maintaining a positive and supportive atmosphere. The Stoics believed in the power of encouragement and the importance of creating a positive environment for growth and connection. In intimacy, this means being supportive and encouraging of your partner, reinforcing her pleasure and helping her to feel confident and comfortable. This positive reinforcement helps to sustain the momentum and ensures that the experience is both pleasurable and emotionally fulfilling for both of you. In conclusion, keeping the momentum going is essential for creating a satisfying and meaningful intimate experience. By maintaining a steady rhythm, staying focused and present, communicating openly, and managing your own energy levels, you can ensure that the experience flows smoothly and remains pleasurable from start to finish. This approach, grounded in the Stoic principles of perseverance, mindfulness, and self-control, ensures that your intimate encounters are not only physically satisfying but also emotionally enriching and deeply connected. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature and the complexities of life, offer timeless wisdom that can be applied to every aspect of our lives, including intimacy. Their teachings on patience, mindfulness, communication, and self-control serve as valuable guides for those seeking to deepen their connection with their partner and enhance the experience of pleasure. Throughout this episode, we've explored how these principles can be used to create a more fulfilling and meaningful intimate relationship. By taking your time, paying attention to her needs, mapping her body, allowing her to indicate when she is ready, focusing on the clitoris, exploring tantric sex, inviting her to participate, understanding the importance of the G-spot, and keeping the momentum going, you not only enhance her pleasure but also strengthen the emotional bond between you. Intimacy is more than just a physical act, it's a journey that requires care, attention, and a deep understanding of your partner's needs and desires. The Stoics understood that the key to a fulfilling life lies in our ability to connect with others on a deeper level, and this is especially true in our most intimate relationships. By applying their wisdom to the realm of intimacy, you can create experiences that are not only pleasurable, but also deeply connected and meaningful. As you continue on your own journey of understanding and mastering the psychology of women, remember that the path to true connection is one of patience, openness, and mutual respect. The more you embrace these principles, the more rewarding your intimate experiences will become, not just for her, but for both of you. Thank you for watching this episode. If you found the insights shared here valuable, be sure to watch until the end, like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts or stories. Your experiences and feedback are important to us, and we look forward to hearing from you. Share this video with others who might benefit from these insights, and stay tuned for more episodes that dive into the fascinating world of female psychology and Stoic wisdom. Throughout history, the Stoics have been revered for their profound wisdom, unparalleled self-discipline, and deep understanding of the human psyche. These ancient philosophers didn't just focus on the larger questions of life, but also on the intricacies of human relationships, including the delicate art of understanding and connecting with women. The Stoics believed that by mastering the psychology of women, one could cultivate deeper, more meaningful connections. In the modern world, this ancient wisdom is more relevant than ever. The ability to truly understand a woman's desires and emotions can elevate a relationship to new heights of passion and intimacy. In this video, we're going to explore secrets of female psychology that only 1% of men truly understand. These are powerful techniques that can make any woman go wild in just minutes, unlocking a level of pleasure and connection that most people never experience. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. These methods should be used with care, respect, and a genuine desire to enhance your partner's experience. Watch until the end to discover these secrets, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share your stories if you've had similar experiences. Your engagement helps us continue to bring valuable content that can transform your relationships and your life. Chapter 1: How to make any girl squirt in under 3 minutes. When it comes to female pleasure, few experiences are as mysterious and sought after as the phenomenon of squirting. This unique response has intrigued and fascinated men and women alike, with many men striving to understand the secret to triggering such an intense and pleasurable release. While many may have heard of it, and some might have even witnessed it, only a select few know how to consistently bring a woman to this heightened level of ecstasy. Squirting is not merely a physical reaction, it is an intense emotional and psychological release that can deepen the connection between partners and create a memorable experience for both. To master the art of making a woman squirt in under 3 minutes, one must first understand that it involves more than just physical technique. It's about creating the right emotional and psychological environment that allows her to fully let go. Squirting often occurs when a woman feels completely at ease, safe, and aroused. Any form of tension, anxiety, or discomfort can act as a barrier, preventing her from reaching this state of heightened pleasure. Therefore, the journey to making her squirt begins long before any physical touch takes place. Creating an environment of trust and relaxation is paramount. A woman needs to feel that she is in a space where she can completely surrender to the moment without fear of judgment or embarrassment. This involves not just verbal communication, but also non-verbal cues that reassure her of your intentions and your respect for her boundaries. Start by engaging in a gentle, prolonged foreplay session where the focus is entirely on her pleasure. Use your hands, mouth, and words to caress, kiss, and speak to her in ways that make her feel desired, cherished, and understood. This slow build-up is crucial, as it allows her arousal to grow steadily, bringing her closer to the point of release. As her arousal builds, you can gradually shift your focus to the key area that is often associated with squirting, the G-spot. The G-spot is located on the front wall of the vagina, about 2 to 3 inches inside. It is a spongy, sensitive area that, when stimulated correctly, can lead to intense pleasure and, in some cases, squirting. The key to stimulating the G-spot effectively lies in using a consistent, firm, but gentle motion. It's important to understand that every woman's body is different, so paying close attention to her reactions is essential. Some women may prefer a soft, slow massage, while others may respond better to a more vigorous motion. To increase the chances of making her squirt, try using a come here motion with your fingers, applying pressure to the G-spot while simultaneously stimulating other erogenous zones, such as her clitoris or nipples. This multifaceted approach can amplify her pleasure and bring her closer to the brink of orgasm. However, it's important to remember that the goal is not to rush or force the experience. Patience and attentiveness are key. Allow her to guide you with her responses, listen to her breath, her moans, and watch her body language to determine when she is approaching the peak of pleasure. Another important aspect of this technique is creating a mental and emotional connection during the experience. Making a woman squirt is as much about her feeling emotionally safe and connected as it is about the physical stimulation. Engage with her throughout the process, whisper affirmations, maintain eye contact, and be fully present in the moment. This emotional connection can enhance her arousal and help her to relax fully, which is essential for achieving squirting. When she is close to the point of release, you may notice certain signs that indicate she is about to squirt. These can include increased muscle tension, a change in her breathing pattern, or a sudden, intense buildup of pressure in her pelvic region. At this moment, maintain your focus and rhythm and encourage her to let go. It's important to reassure her that it's okay to release. Many women may feel hesitant or unsure about the experience, especially if it's their first time. If she does reach the point of squirting, be prepared for an intense, possibly messy, but ultimately satisfying experience. The release of fluid can be both powerful and liberating, leaving her with a sense of deep satisfaction and connection. However, if she doesn't squirt, don't be discouraged. Squirting is not something that can be forced or guaranteed every time. What matters most is that you've created a space where she feels valued, understood, and deeply pleasured. In summary, making a woman squirt in under 3 minutes is a skill that combines physical technique with emotional sensitivity. It requires an understanding of her unique anatomy, but more importantly, it demands that you create an environment of trust, relaxation, and deep emotional connection. By focusing on her pleasure, listening to her body, and maintaining a patient, attentive approach, you can guide her to an intense release that strengthens your bond and enhances your intimate relationship. Chapter 2. Let her know what's about to happen. Open communication is the bedrock of any successful intimate relationship, and when it comes to something as personal and potentially vulnerable as sexual pleasure, it becomes even more essential. Before diving into any advanced techniques, including those aimed at making her squirt, it's crucial to ensure that your partner is fully aware of what's about to happen. This not only fosters trust and mutual respect, but also enhances the overall experience by eliminating any feelings of uncertainty or apprehension. By being transparent and communicative, you create an environment where your partner feels safe, respected, and ready to fully enjoy the experience. Many men make the mistake of assuming that their partner is automatically comfortable with every aspect of sexual exploration. This assumption can lead to discomfort, anxiety, and even a breakdown in trust if she feels that her boundaries have been crossed. Therefore, the first step in any intimate encounter should always be a conversation about expectations, desires, and boundaries. This dialogue should be approached with sensitivity and respect, ensuring that your partner feels heard and understood. When it comes to discussing the possibility of making her squirt, it's important to gauge her interest and comfort level. Not every woman is familiar with squirting, and some may have misconceptions or fears about the experience. By openly discussing what you're hoping to achieve and why, you can help alleviate any concerns she may have. Explain that squirting is a natural response that can enhance her pleasure, but also make it clear that her comfort and enjoyment are your top priorities. This reassures her that the experience is about mutual pleasure, not just fulfilling a fantasy. Another key aspect of this conversation is addressing any potential misconceptions she might have about squirting. Some women may worry about the messiness or feel embarrassed about the idea of losing control during the experience. It's important to normalize these concerns and emphasize that squirting is a natural and positive response that should be celebrated, not something to be ashamed of. By providing reassurance and information, you can help her feel more at ease and open to the experience. Once you've established that she's comfortable with the idea, it's important to keep the lines of communication open throughout the encounter. Let her know that she's in control at all times and that she can guide you in terms of what feels good and what doesn't. Encourage her to communicate her needs and desires, whether it's through words, moans, or body language. This not only ensures that the experience is pleasurable for her, but also helps to build trust and intimacy between you. As you move forward, it's crucial to be attentive to her reactions and adjust your approach based on her feedback. Every woman's body is different, and what works for one may not work for another. By being flexible and responsive to her needs, you demonstrate that her pleasure is your priority. This kind of attentiveness not only enhances the physical experience, but also deepens the emotional connection between you. In addition to verbal communication, non-verbal cues play a significant role in guiding the experience. Pay close attention to her breathing patterns, body movements, and facial expressions. These can provide valuable insights into how she's feeling and whether she's enjoying the experience. If she seems tense or uncomfortable at any point, take a step back and ask if there's anything she'd like to change. This shows that you respect her boundaries and are committed to ensuring that she feels safe and comfortable throughout the encounter. Another important aspect of this process is pacing. Rushing through the experience can lead to discomfort or even pain, so it's important to take your time and allow her arousal to build gradually. This not only increases the likelihood of making her squirt, but also enhances the overall pleasure for both of you. By being patient and attentive, you create a space where she can fully relax and enjoy the experience. Finally, it's important to remember that not every attempt will result in squirting, and that's okay. The goal is not to force a specific outcome, but to create a pleasurable and fulfilling experience for both partners. If she doesn't squirt, focus on the positive aspects of the encounter and reassure her that her pleasure and comfort are what truly matter. By maintaining a positive and supportive attitude, you can ensure that the experience is enjoyable, regardless of the outcome. In conclusion, letting your partner know what's about to happen is a crucial step in ensuring a positive and fulfilling experience. Open and honest communication not only fosters trust and respect, but also enhances the overall pleasure for both partners. By taking the time to discuss expectations, address concerns, and maintain open communication throughout the encounter, you create an environment where your partner feels safe, respected, and ready to fully enjoy the experience. This approach not only increases the likelihood of making her squirt, but also deepens the emotional connection between you, leading to a more satisfying and fulfilling intimate relationship. Chapter 3: Mastering the two-finger motion. In the art of intimate pleasure, technique plays a crucial role, and when it comes to inducing squirting, mastering the two-finger motion is one of the most effective methods. This technique, when done correctly, can stimulate the G-spot in a way that leads to an intense and pleasurable release. However, like all aspects of sexual intimacy, it's not just about the physical action, it's about understanding your partner's body, being attentive to her needs, and ensuring that the experience is enjoyable and consensual. The two-finger motion is a technique that involves using two fingers to stimulate the G-spot, which is located on the front wall of the vagina. The G-spot is a sensitive area that, when properly stimulated, can lead to intense pleasure and, in some cases, squirting. However, not every woman is the same, and what works for one may not work for another. Therefore, it's important to approach this technique with an open mind and be willing to adjust based on your partner's feedback. To begin, ensure that your partner is fully aroused and comfortable. This is where foreplay plays a critical role. Spend time engaging in activities that she enjoys, whether it's kissing, touching, or oral stimulation. The goal is to make sure that she is relaxed, aroused, and ready for more intense stimulation. When you feel that she is fully aroused, you can begin the two-finger motion. Start by gently inserting two fingers into her vagina with your palm facing upward. The fingers should be slightly curved, as if you're making a "come here" gesture. This allows you to target the G-spot, which is located about 2 to 3 inches inside the vagina. Begin by applying gentle pressure to this area using a slow and steady motion. The key is to be firm but not too aggressive. This area is sensitive and too much pressure can be uncomfortable or even painful. As you continue, pay close attention to your partner's reactions. Her breathing, moans, and body language will give you important clues about whether she's enjoying the sensation or if you need to adjust your technique. Some women may prefer a slow and gentle motion, while others might enjoy a more rhythmic and firm stimulation. The key is to be responsive to her needs and adjust your approach accordingly. In addition to the basic "come here" motion, you can also experiment with varying the speed, pressure, and angle of your fingers. Some women may enjoy a faster, more intense stimulation, while others may prefer a slow and steady build-up. You can also try adding circular motions or gently pressing against different areas of the G-spot to see what she responds to best. The goal is to find the right combination of movements that brings her the most pleasure. While the two-finger motion is an effective technique, it's important to remember that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Every woman's body is different, and what works for one may not work for another. Therefore, communication is key. Encourage your partner to tell you what feels good and what doesn't, and be open to making adjustments based on her feedback. This not only ensures that she enjoys the experience, but also deepens the emotional connection between you. It's also important to recognize that making a woman squirt is not the ultimate goal, it's just one aspect of a broader sexual experience. If she doesn't squirt, that doesn't mean that the experience wasn't successful. The most important thing is that she feels pleasure, satisfaction, and connection with you. By focusing on her overall enjoyment rather than just achieving a specific outcome, you can create a more fulfilling and satisfying experience for both of you. Finally, remember that practice makes perfect. The more you practice the two-finger motion, the more attuned you'll become to your partner's body and her unique responses. Over time, you'll develop a deeper understanding of what she enjoys and how to bring her the most pleasure. This not only enhances the physical aspect of your relationship, but also strengthens the emotional bond between you. In summary, mastering the two-finger motion is a powerful technique for inducing squirting, but it requires more than just physical skill. It demands a deep understanding of your partner's body, clear communication, and a focus on her overall pleasure. By being attentive, patient, and responsive, you can create a deeply satisfying and pleasurable experience that enhances both the physical and emotional aspects of your relationship. Whether or not she squirts, the key is to ensure that she feels valued, understood, and deeply pleasured throughout the experience. Chapter 4. Tense up your fingers for maximum stimulation. When it comes to maximizing pleasure during intimate moments, one often overlooked yet crucial technique is learning how to effectively tense up your fingers during stimulation. This simple adjustment can significantly enhance the intensity of the sensations your partner experiences, particularly when targeting the G-spot for potential squirting. While the basic mechanics of the two-finger motion are essential, adding tension to your fingers can amplify the pressure and ensure that you're making the most out of every movement. To understand why tensing up your fingers is so effective, it's important to first recognize the sensitivity of the G-spot. This area, located on the front wall of the vagina, is rich in nerve endings and responds best to firm, consistent pressure. However, maintaining that pressure throughout the stimulation can be challenging, especially as you increase the intensity of your movements. This is where tensing your fingers comes into play. By consciously tightening the muscles in your fingers and hand, you can provide a more consistent and controlled application of pressure, which is key to driving her closer to orgasm and, potentially, to squirting. Begin by positioning your fingers as you would for the standard two-finger motion, with your palm facing upwards and your fingers curled slightly towards you in a "come here" gesture. As you start to stimulate the G-spot, gradually begin to tense the muscles in your fingers. This tension should be firm, but not overly rigid. You want to maintain flexibility and responsiveness to your partner's needs. The goal is to create a sense of firmness that allows you to press more effectively against the G-spot without losing the rhythm or flow of your movements. As you tense your fingers, pay close attention to how your partner responds. You may notice that her moans become louder, her breathing quickens, or her body begins to move in sync with your motions. These are all signs that she's enjoying the increased pressure and that you're on the right track. If she seems to be enjoying it, you can continue to build the tension gradually, increasing the intensity as her arousal grows. The key is to maintain a balance. Too much tension can lead to discomfort, while too little may not provide enough stimulation. It's all about finding the sweet spot that works for her. Another benefit of tensing your fingers is that it allows for more precise control over the stimulation. When your fingers are tense, you have a better grip and can more accurately target the G-spot, adjusting your pressure and speed based on her reactions. This precision is particularly important when she's close to orgasm, as even slight changes in pressure or rhythm can make the difference between a good experience and an explosive one. By maintaining control over your movements, you can guide her steadily towards climax, ensuring that the experience is as pleasurable as possible. In addition to enhancing the physical sensation, tensing your fingers can also have a psychological impact on your partner. The feeling of firm, controlled pressure can create a sense of security and confidence, helping her to relax and fully surrender to the experience. This psychological aspect is crucial, as squirting is as much about emotional release as it is about physical stimulation. When she feels safe and supported, she's more likely to let go of any inhibitions and allow herself to reach new heights of pleasure. However, it's important to remember that every woman's body is different, and what works for one person may not work for another. As with any sexual technique, communication is key. Encourage your partner to give you feedback on how the tension feels and whether she prefers a firmer or gentler touch. Be open to adjusting your approach based on her needs and preferences. The goal is to create a personalized experience that caters to her unique desires and ensures her maximum pleasure. Another aspect to consider is the overall pace of the encounter. While tensing your fingers can enhance the intensity of the stimulation, it's important not to rush the experience. Allow her arousal to build naturally, using the tension as a tool to gradually increase the pleasure rather than as a means to force an orgasm. This measured approach not only heightens the anticipation, but also makes the eventual release all the more satisfying. By taking your time and focusing on her pleasure, you create a more fulfilling and enjoyable experience for both of you. Finally, don't forget to combine this technique with other forms of stimulation. While the G-spot is a powerful erogenous zone, many women find that combining internal stimulation with clitoral stimulation leads to even more intense orgasms. Use your free hand or even introduce a toy to provide additional stimulation and create a multi-sensory experience that drives her wild. The combination of internal and external pleasure can be incredibly powerful and may increase the likelihood of squirting. In summary, tensing your fingers is a subtle yet powerful technique that can significantly enhance the pleasure of G-spot stimulation. By providing firm, controlled pressure, you can amplify the sensations and guide your partner towards a more intense and satisfying orgasm. As with all aspects of sexual intimacy, the key is to communicate, be attentive to her needs, and focus on creating a pleasurable and fulfilling experience. With practice and patience, this technique can become a valuable tool in your sexual repertoire, helping you to bring your partner to new heights of pleasure. Chapter 5. Don't be surprised by her reaction. When exploring the deeper realms of female pleasure, particularly techniques like making her squirt, it's crucial to be prepared for a range of reactions. Female sexuality is complex and deeply tied to both emotional and physical responses, and the intensity of these experiences can sometimes lead to unexpected reactions. Understanding and anticipating these reactions, rather than being surprised by them, can make a significant difference in how you handle the situation and ensure that the experience remains positive and fulfilling for both of you. First and foremost, it's important to acknowledge that squirting is an intense physical release that can sometimes catch a woman off guard. Even if she's experienced it before, each instance can feel different, and the sudden rush of fluid, combined with the intensity of the orgasm, can evoke strong emotional responses. She might laugh, cry, or express surprise or embarrassment. As her partner, your role is to provide reassurance and support, helping her to feel comfortable and accepted no matter how she reacts. One common reaction to squirting is a sense of vulnerability. For many women, squirting is not just a physical release, but also an emotional one. The act of letting go to that extent can feel overwhelming, especially if it's a new experience or if she's not fully comfortable with it yet. She might feel exposed or self-conscious about the amount of fluid released or the intensity of her orgasm. It's crucial to be understanding and sensitive to these feelings, offering comfort and reminding her that her response is natural and nothing to be ashamed of. Another reaction you might encounter is a sense of surprise or disbelief. Squirting can feel very different from other types of orgasms, and the sensation of the fluid release can be unexpected for some women. She might be surprised by the intensity of the experience or the amount of fluid released. It's important to respond to this surprise with positivity and reassurance. Let her know that her reaction is perfectly normal and that you're glad she was able to reach such a level of pleasure. Your calm and accepting demeanor will help her to relax and enjoy the moment without feeling self-conscious. It's also possible that she might feel embarrassed or worried about your reaction. Some women may have concerns about how their partner will perceive them after squirting, especially if it's a new experience for both of you. They might worry about the mess or whether you found the experience enjoyable. This is where your attitude plays a critical role. By reacting with enthusiasm and reassurance, you can help alleviate any concerns she might have. Express your pleasure in seeing her reach such an intense orgasm and make it clear that you find the experience exciting and fulfilling. Your positive response will go a long way in making her feel comfortable and confident. In some cases, a woman's reaction to squirting might be to pull away or become more reserved. This can happen if she feels overwhelmed or if the experience triggers strong emotions. If this happens, it's important not to push her or try to force her back into the moment. Instead, give her space and time to process her feelings. Let her know that you're there for her and that you understand if she needs a moment to gather herself. Being patient and supportive in this way shows that you respect her boundaries and are more concerned with her well-being than with continuing the sexual encounter. Another reaction that might occur is an increase in intimacy and closeness. Squirting can be a deeply bonding experience for some women, leading them to feel more connected to their partner. She might want to cuddle, talk about the experience, or simply enjoy the afterglow together. Embrace this opportunity to deepen your emotional connection and share in the joy of the experience. This can be a powerful way to strengthen your relationship and create lasting memories of intimacy and pleasure. It's also worth noting that some women might have a more physical reaction, such as feeling exhausted or needing to take a break. Squirting can be physically draining, and it's important to be attentive to her needs afterward. Offer her water, a towel, or whatever else she might need to feel comfortable and relaxed. Taking care of her in this way shows that you're attentive to her overall well-being and not just focused on the sexual aspect of the experience. In addition to these potential reactions, it's important to be aware of your own response to the experience. As the partner, your reaction will have a significant impact on how she feels about the encounter. If you react with surprise or discomfort, she might pick up on those cues and feel self-conscious or anxious. On the other hand, if you respond with enthusiasm, positivity, and support, she's more likely to feel good about the experience and be open to exploring it again in the future. Chapter 6. Consistency is key. Keep going until she reaches her peak. In the pursuit of maximizing pleasure for your partner, particularly when it comes to achieving intense orgasms and even squirting, consistency in your technique is paramount. The journey to such an orgasm can be as much about maintaining a steady rhythm and pressure as it is about knowing the right spots to stimulate. Understanding this will allow you to keep her arousal building steadily until she reaches that ultimate peak of pleasure. Consistency refers to both the physical and psychological aspects of stimulation. Physically, it's about maintaining a constant rhythm, pressure, and focus on the erogenous zones, particularly the G-spot, once you've identified the right technique that works for her. Psychologically, consistency reassures her that you're fully attuned to her needs, which can help her relax and fully immerse herself in the experience. This combination of steady physical stimulation and emotional support can significantly increase the chances of her reaching a powerful orgasm, potentially leading to squirting. To begin with, it's essential to establish a rhythm that feels good to her and stick with it. The come here motion with your fingers, coupled with consistent pressure on the G-spot, is a proven technique for stimulating the area effectively. Once you find a pace that she responds to positively, keep it steady. The temptation might be to change it up or increase the speed or pressure too quickly, but often this can disrupt her build-up to orgasm. Instead, focus on maintaining the pace and pressure, allowing her arousal to climb naturally and progressively. It's also crucial to pay attention to her body language and verbal cues. While it might seem straightforward, keeping the rhythm consistent can be challenging, especially if she's close to climax. Her breathing may quicken, and her body might start to move more intensely in response to the pleasure. While these are signs that she's approaching orgasm, it's important not to get carried away by the moment. Continue with the same rhythm and pressure, even as her reactions become more pronounced. This is the time to double down on your consistency, as maintaining that steady stimulation is often what will push her over the edge into orgasm. Another aspect of consistency is maintaining the same level of focus throughout the encounter. Distractions, even brief ones, can pull both you and her out of the moment, potentially interrupting her progression towards orgasm. Ensure that your focus remains entirely on her pleasure without letting your mind wander. This undivided attention not only helps in keeping the physical stimulation consistent, but also reinforces the emotional connection, making the experience more fulfilling for her. Consistency doesn't mean rigidity. While maintaining a steady rhythm and pressure is key, you should still be responsive to her feedback. If she signals that she needs more pressure or a slightly faster pace, make those adjustments slowly and deliberately. The idea is to keep the overall experience smooth and uninterrupted, rather than making abrupt changes that could break the flow. Think of it like fine-tuning a musical instrument. Small, gradual adjustments can enhance the harmony without disrupting the melody. In addition to the physical technique, maintaining verbal communication throughout the experience can also help reinforce consistency. Simple affirmations like asking if she likes the rhythm or if she needs anything to be adjusted can be very effective. These check-ins not only show that you're attentive, but also encourage her to communicate her needs openly, which is crucial for ensuring that you're on the right track. Her responses will guide you in keeping the stimulation consistent and effective. As she gets closer to climax, you might notice subtle changes in her reactions. She might start breathing faster, moaning louder, or her muscles might tense up more. These are signs that she's on the verge of orgasm. At this point, resist the urge to change what you're doing. The consistency that has brought her to this point is what will help her reach her peak. Stay the course and maintain that steady rhythm and pressure, allowing her to build towards the orgasm naturally. It's also important to prepare for the possibility that she might experience multiple orgasms or a particularly intense climax, especially if you're stimulating her G-spot. Consistency in your technique will not only help her reach orgasm, but can also make it easier for her to have multiple orgasms if that's something she's capable of. After the first orgasm, if she's still responsive and you can continue without interruption, maintaining that same consistent stimulation can lead to additional climaxes. Finally, remember that aftercare is just as important as the consistency during the act. Once she's reached her peak, whether it's a single intense orgasm or multiple ones, take the time to help her come down gently. This could involve soft touches, holding her, or simply being there as she relaxes. The consistency of your attention and care after the experience is just as important as during the stimulation itself. It reinforces the trust and connection between you, making the entire experience more meaningful. In conclusion, consistency is a critical component of bringing your partner to her peak pleasure. By maintaining a steady rhythm and pressure, staying focused, and responding to her needs with small, deliberate adjustments, you can guide her towards an intense and satisfying orgasm. The key is to be patient, attentive, and fully engaged, ensuring that the experience is as pleasurable and fulfilling for her as possible. Chapter 7: Mastering the Technique with Patience and Practice. Achieving the perfect balance of technique and timing when it comes to stimulating your partner, especially to the point of squirting, is an art that requires patience and practice. While the steps outlined in previous chapters provide a solid foundation, mastering these techniques takes time, experimentation, and a deep understanding of your partner's unique responses. The more you practice and refine your approach, the more confident you'll become, and the more pleasure you'll be able to bring to your partner. First and foremost, patience is the key to mastering any sexual technique. Whether you're new to this or have some experience, it's important to approach each encounter with an open mind and a willingness to learn. Understand that not every attempt will lead to the same results, and that's perfectly okay. The goal is to enjoy the journey and discover what works best for both you and your partner. By being patient and attentive, you create a safe and supportive environment where she can fully explore her pleasure without feeling pressured. Practice, on the other hand, is how you refine your skills and build confidence. Like any skill, the more you practice, the better you'll become. Don't be discouraged if it takes several tries to get it right or if the results vary each time. Every woman's body is different, and even the same woman might respond differently depending on various factors such as mood, stress levels, and comfort. The key is to keep trying and to view each experience as an opportunity to learn and improve. To get the most out of your practice sessions, it's important to pay close attention to feedback from your partner. Communication is essential in this process. Encourage her to express what feels good and what doesn't, and be open to making adjustments based on her input. Whether it's the pressure, speed, or rhythm, fine-tuning these elements in response to her feedback will help you become more attuned to her needs. Over time, you'll develop a deeper understanding of her body and what brings her the most pleasure. In addition to verbal feedback, pay attention to non-verbal cues. Her breathing, moans, and body movements can all provide valuable insights into how she's feeling. These cues are often more reliable than words, as they reflect her immediate, instinctual responses. By learning to read these signals, you can adjust your technique in real time, ensuring that you're always in sync with her needs. This ability to respond to her body's natural signals is what separates a good lover from a great one. Another important aspect of mastering this technique is experimenting with different approaches. While consistency is important once you've found what works, it's also valuable to explore different methods and variations to see what else might be pleasurable for her. This could involve trying different angles, speeds, or even incorporating additional forms of stimulation, such as clitoral stimulation or using sex toys. Each of these variations can provide new and exciting sensations, adding depth and variety to your intimate experiences. It's also worth noting that practice isn't just about repetition, It's about learning from each experience and applying those lessons to future encounters. After each session, take some time to reflect on what went well and what could be improved. Discuss with your partner what she enjoyed most and if there's anything she'd like to try differently next time. This ongoing dialogue helps to build trust and ensures that your sexual relationship continues to grow and evolve. In addition to regular practice with your partner, it can be helpful to educate yourself further on female anatomy and sexual response. Understanding the intricacies of the G-spot, the clitoris, and other erogenous zones can provide you with valuable insights that enhance your technique. There are plenty of resources available, from books to online articles, that can deepen your knowledge and help you become more skilled in the bedroom. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to satisfy your partner's needs. Finally, it's important to keep in mind that sexual mastery is not about achieving perfection, but rather about creating a fulfilling and enjoyable experience for both you and your partner. There's no right way to do it, and the best technique is the one that works for you as a couple. As you continue to practice and grow together, you'll develop a unique rhythm and style that suits your relationship. Embrace the journey and enjoy the process of discovery together. Mastering the art of giving your partner intense orgasms, including the elusive and exhilarating experience of squirting, is a journey that requires patience, dedication, and an open mind. Throughout this episode, we've explored the importance of understanding her body, communicating openly, and applying consistent and refined techniques to maximize her pleasure. Remember, the ultimate goal is not just to achieve a specific outcome, but to deepen the connection between you and your partner. By being attuned to her needs, responding to her cues, and continuously improving your technique, you create a safe and loving environment where she can fully explore her sexual potential. The pleasure she experiences is a testament to the trust and intimacy you've built together, making each encounter a unique and fulfilling adventure. As you continue on this journey, keep in mind that every woman is different, and what works for one might not work for another. Be patient with yourself and with her as you explore these techniques, and most importantly, enjoy the process of discovery. With time, practice, and a genuine desire to please her, you'll find that the rewards go far beyond the physical, deepening the bond and connection you share. Thank you for watching this episode. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your experiences or any questions you may have. Your journey to becoming a more attentive and skilled lover is one that will bring both you and your partner immense satisfaction. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep the love and passion alive in your relationship. Until next time, stay connected, stay curious, and keep exploring the boundless world of pleasure. The Stoics, throughout their long and contemplative lives, mastered the art of self-control, discipline, and understanding human nature. They believed in the power of knowledge and insight to navigate life's complexities, including the intricate dynamics between men and women. Their teachings, grounded in rationality and wisdom, offer timeless guidance that can still be applied today, especially when it comes to understanding the subtle and often hidden cues that can unlock deeper connections. In today's episode, we're diving into a topic that blends this ancient wisdom with modern insights. 99% of women will go crazy if you know these secret spots. These are areas that, when touched or caressed with the right technique, can drive any woman wild with desire. Understanding these secret spots isn't just about physical pleasure, it's about deepening your connection, building intimacy, and truly knowing how to please your partner in ways that will leave her breathless. So, stick around until the end of the video to uncover these powerful secrets, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share your own experiences or stories if you have them. Your insights could be the key to helping someone else deepen their relationship too. Let's dive in. Chapter 1: Inner Thighs. The inner thighs hold a unique and deeply intimate place in a woman's body. This area, often overlooked in its sensual potential, is among the most sensitive and responsive zones. It is a prime spot for arousal, brimming with nerve endings that react intensely to the slightest touch. This sensitivity makes the inner thighs a powerful tool in building anticipation and excitement, setting the stage for deeper intimacy. When you're with a woman, the way you touch her inner thighs can make a world of difference. Gently running your fingers along this delicate area, or softly tracing your lips over her skin, can create a tantalizing sensation that is both teasing and deeply arousing. It's not merely the act of touching that makes the experience so intense, but the careful, deliberate build-up. The inner thighs serve as a gateway, a path leading to more intimate areas, and the way you navigate this path can reveal much about your control and mastery, traits that women find incredibly attractive. From a Stoic perspective, this approach to the inner thighs is about more than just physical pleasure. The Stoics believed in the importance of mindfulness, of being fully present in each moment. When you focus on the inner thighs, you're not just engaging in a physical act, you're practicing mindfulness, paying close attention to every subtle reaction. Does she shiver slightly at your touch? Does her breath catch? These are the subtle cues that guide you, showing you how to please her in ways that are deeply personal and uniquely satisfying. Mindfulness in this context means being aware not just of her responses, but also of your own actions. The Stoics taught that self-awareness and the ability to observe without judgment are crucial in all aspects of life, including the intimate moments you share with a partner. This means being conscious of the intensity and pace of your touch. Start slowly, letting your fingers or lips brush softly against her skin. This light, gentle approach can create a sense of longing and desire, heightening her pleasure as the anticipation builds. As you continue, gradually increase the intensity, but always with a keen awareness of her responses. The art of touching the inner thighs lies in this balance, knowing when to be gentle and when to apply more pressure. This not only heightens her physical pleasure, but also demonstrates that you are attentive and deeply in tune with her needs, a quality that is universally appreciated and admired. The inner thighs are also significant in what they symbolize. They are a border, a line between what is intimate and what is even more so. By taking your time here, you're not just engaging in foreplay, you're communicating a message of patience, control, and respect. You're showing that you understand the value of build-up, that you recognize the importance of each moment leading to the next. This kind of control is not about dominance, but about creating an experience that is as pleasurable as it is meaningful. In addition to the physical aspects, consider the emotional and psychological impact of focusing on the inner thighs. This area is often associated with vulnerability, and by treating it with the care and attention it deserves, you're fostering a sense of trust and safety. The Stoics believed that true intimacy goes beyond the physical. It involves a deep connection that is built on mutual respect and understanding. By being mindful of how you touch her inner thighs, you're not just engaging in an act of physical pleasure, you're building a foundation of trust that can lead to deeper emotional intimacy. Moreover, the inner thighs can be a place of communication without words. The way you touch her, the way you respond to her reactions, all of this communicates something deeper than words ever could. It's a conversation of the senses, one that, when done with care and mindfulness, can lead to a profound connection. The Stoics would appreciate this approach, seeing it as an extension of their belief in the power of deliberate, intentional action. In conclusion, the inner thighs are more than just a physical hotspot. They are a key to unlocking deeper levels of intimacy, both physically and emotionally. By approaching them with mindfulness, patience, and care, you're not only arousing her senses, but also building a connection that goes far beyond the moment. This is the true essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that the small, deliberate actions we take can have profound impacts on our relationships and our lives. Chapter 2. Lower Back. The lower back is an area of the body that holds a surprising amount of sensual potential. Often overlooked in favor of more obvious erogenous zones, The lower back is a treasure trove of nerve endings that can evoke powerful sensations when touched with the right combination of pressure and technique. For many women, the lower back represents a bridge between the tactile sensitivity of the upper body and the intimacy of the lower body, making it a perfect area to explore when building anticipation and connection. When you focus on a woman's lower back, you're engaging in an act that combines physical pleasure with psychological comfort. The lower back is a vulnerable spot, closely tied to the spine, which serves as a central channel of sensation and control. By gently running your hands along her lower back, or applying soft, circular pressure with your fingertips, you're not just providing physical pleasure, you're offering a sense of security and care. This can be particularly powerful when combined with other forms of touch, such as light massages or gentle kisses, which can enhance the overall experience and deepen the connection between you. From a Stoic perspective, the key to engaging the lower back lies in the principle of presence. The Stoics taught the importance of being fully present in each moment, of engaging with life in a way that is deliberate and mindful. When you touch a woman's lower back, you should be fully aware of the way her body responds. Notice how her muscles react to your touch, how her breathing changes, and how her posture shifts. Each of these reactions provides valuable feedback, guiding you to adjust your touch to maximize her pleasure and comfort. Mindfulness also means understanding the emotional significance of the lower back. This area is often associated with support and strength, both physically and metaphorically. By paying attention to how you touch her lower back, you're acknowledging the importance of these concepts in your relationship. You're showing that you're not just interested in physical pleasure, but also in providing support and strength in a way that is both tangible and deeply felt. This kind of awareness can transform a simple touch into a powerful act of connection. The lower back is also an area where you can explore different types of touch, each with its own unique effect. For example, using the flat of your hand to apply gentle pressure can create a soothing sensation, while using your fingertips to trace light, circular patterns can evoke a more playful and teasing response. The Stoics believed in the value of variety and experimentation in life, and this principle can be applied to the way you touch the lower back. By exploring different techniques and paying attention to how she responds, you can discover what brings her the most pleasure and adjust your approach accordingly. In addition to physical touch, the lower back can also be a focal point for verbal communication. Whispering soft, reassuring words as you touch her lower back can enhance the sense of intimacy and connection. This combination of physical and verbal communication can create a holistic experience that engages both the body and the mind. The Stoics understood the power of words to influence emotions and actions, and by integrating this wisdom into your approach, you can create a deeper, more meaningful connection with your partner. Moreover, the lower back is closely connected to the hips, another area of the body that is rich in sensual potential. By moving your touch from the lower back to the hips, you can create a seamless flow of sensation that heightens her pleasure and anticipation. This movement can be both subtle and powerful, building on the foundation you've established with your initial touch. The Stoics believed in the importance of flow and continuity in life, and this principle can be applied to the way you engage with the lower back and hips, creating a smooth and continuous experience that keeps her engaged and excited. In conclusion, the lower back is a powerful area of the body that, when touched with mindfulness and care, can evoke deep physical and emotional responses. By being fully present, exploring different techniques, and integrating verbal communication, you can turn a simple touch into a profound act of connection. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that every action, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on the relationship and on the overall experience of pleasure and connection. Chapter 3: Hips. The hips are one of the most sensual and evocative areas of a woman's body. They are a symbol of femininity, fertility, and strength, and they play a crucial role in how a woman moves, dances, and expresses herself physically. The hips are also incredibly responsive to touch, making them an ideal focus for building anticipation and intimacy. When you touch a woman's hips, you're engaging with a part of her body that is closely tied to her sense of self and her sexual identity. The hips are often associated with movement and rhythm, and by touching them, you're tapping into this deep connection. Gently placing your hands on her hips, whether during a dance or in a more intimate setting, can create a sense of closeness and control. The hips are also an area where you can apply varying degrees of pressure, from a soft, caressing touch to a firmer, more assertive grip, depending on the context and her response. From a Stoic perspective, touching a woman's hips is an opportunity to practice the principles of balance and harmony. The Stoics believed in the importance of maintaining balance in all aspects of life, and this applies to the way you touch and engage with your partner. The hips, as a central point of balance in the body, are a perfect metaphor for this concept. By focusing on the hips, you can create a sense of equilibrium and connection that enhances the overall experience for both of you. One of the key aspects of touching the hips is the ability to create a sense of rhythm. The hips are naturally rhythmic, and by synchronizing your touch with this rhythm, you can create a flow that feels natural and intuitive. This rhythm can be slow and sensual, or it can be more energetic and playful, depending on the mood and the situation. The Stoics value the concept of flow and movement, understanding that life is a constant state of change and that embracing this movement is key to living fully. By applying this principle to your touch, you can create an experience that feels organic and deeply satisfying. The hips are also an area where you can explore the concept of leading and following. In many cultures, the hips are central to dance, a form of communication that involves both leading and following. When you touch a woman's hips, you have the opportunity to take the lead, guiding her movements in a way that is both supportive and assertive. At the same time, it's important to be receptive to her cues, allowing her to guide you in return. This dynamic of give and take is at the heart of many successful relationships, and it's a concept that the Stoics would have appreciated for its balance and harmony. Another important aspect of the hips is their connection to the lower back and thighs. By moving your touch from the hips to these adjacent areas, you can create a continuous flow of sensation that heightens her pleasure and anticipation. This movement can be subtle or more pronounced, depending on the situation and her preferences. The Stoics believed in the importance of adaptability and flexibility, understanding that life often requires us to adjust our approach to meet changing circumstances. By being flexible in your touch and responsive to her reactions, you can create an experience that is both dynamic and deeply satisfying. Touching the hips is also an opportunity to engage in verbal communication. Complimenting her on the way she moves, or expressing your admiration for her strength and grace, can enhance the sense of connection and intimacy. The Stoics understood the power of words to influence emotions and actions, and by integrating this wisdom into your approach, you can create a deeper, more meaningful connection with your partner. In conclusion, the hips are a powerful and evocative area of the body that, when touched with mindfulness and care, can evoke deep physical and emotional responses. By being fully present, exploring different techniques, and integrating verbal communication, you can turn a simple touch into a profound act of connection. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that every action, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on the relationship and on the overall experience of pleasure and connection. Chapter 4: Back of the Neck. The back of the neck is a highly sensitive and often overlooked area that can evoke powerful sensations when touched correctly. This area is packed with nerve endings, making it one of the most responsive parts of the body to gentle caresses and kisses. The back of the neck is also closely tied to feelings of trust and vulnerability, as it is a spot that is rarely exposed or touched by others. When you focus on this area, you're not only providing physical pleasure, but also fostering a deep sense of connection and trust. When you touch a woman's neck, it's important to be mindful of the pressure and pace of your touch. The neck is an area where less is often more. Light, delicate touches can create a tingling sensation that is both soothing and exciting. Gently running your fingers along the back of her neck or softly kissing the area can create a sense of intimacy that is both calming and arousing. The neck is also an area where you can incorporate breath into your touch. Softly exhaling as you kiss or touch the neck can enhance the sensation and create a deeper sense of connection. From a Stoic perspective, the back of the neck is an area where the principles of patience and mindfulness come into play. The Stoics taught the importance of being fully present in each moment, of engaging with life in a way that is deliberate and intentional. When you touch a woman's neck, you should be fully aware of the way her body responds. Notice how she reacts to your touch, how her breathing changes, and how her posture shifts. Each of these reactions provides valuable feedback, guiding you to adjust your touch to maximize her pleasure and comfort. The back of the neck is also an area where you can explore the concept of anticipation. By starting with light, teasing touches, and gradually increasing the intensity, you can build a sense of anticipation that heightens her pleasure. The Stoics believed in the value of delayed gratification, understanding that the anticipation of pleasure can often be as satisfying as the pleasure itself. By applying this principle to your touch, you can create an experience that is both tantalizing and deeply satisfying. In addition to physical touch, the back of the neck can also be a focal point for verbal communication. Whispering soft, reassuring words as you touch her neck can enhance the sense of intimacy and connection. This combination of physical and verbal communication can create a holistic experience that engages both the body and the mind. The Stoics understood the power of words to influence emotions and actions, and by integrating this wisdom into your approach, you can create a deeper, more meaningful connection with your partner. Moreover, the neck is closely connected to the shoulders and upper back, areas that are also rich in sensual potential. By moving your touch from the neck to these adjacent areas, you can create a continuous flow of sensation that heightens her pleasure and anticipation. This movement can be both subtle and powerful, building on the foundation you've established with your initial touch. The Stoics believed in the importance of flow and continuity in life, and this principle can be applied to the way you engage with the neck and shoulders, creating a smooth and continuous experience that keeps her engaged and excited. In conclusion, the back of the neck is a powerful area of the body that, when touched with mindfulness and care, can evoke deep physical and emotional responses. By being fully present, exploring different techniques, and integrating verbal communication, you can turn a simple touch into a profound act of connection. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that every action, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on the relationship and on the overall experience of pleasure and connection. Chapter 5. Inner Thighs. The inner thighs are one of the most sensitive and intimate areas of a woman's body. This area is rich in nerve endings, making it highly responsive to touch. The inner thighs are also closely associated with feelings of vulnerability and trust, as they are an area that is not often touched by others. When you focus on this area, you're not only providing physical pleasure, but also fostering a deep sense of connection and trust. When you touch a woman's inner thighs, it's important to be mindful of the pressure and pace of your touch. The inner thighs are an area where light, delicate touches can create a tingling sensation that is both soothing and exciting. Gently running your fingers along her inner thighs, or softly kissing the area, can create a sense of intimacy that is both calming and arousing. The inner thighs are also an area where you can incorporate breath into your touch. Softly exhaling as you kiss or touch the area can enhance the sensation and create a deeper sense of connection. From a Stoic perspective, the inner thighs are an area where the principles of patience and mindfulness come into play. The Stoics taught the importance of being fully present in each moment, of engaging with life in a way that is deliberate and intentional. When you touch a woman's inner thighs, you should be fully aware of the way her body responds. Notice how she reacts to your touch, how her breathing changes, and how her posture shifts. Each of these reactions provides valuable feedback, guiding you to adjust your touch to maximize her pleasure and comfort. The inner thighs are also an area where you can explore the concept of anticipation. By starting with light, teasing touches, and gradually increasing the intensity, you can build a sense of anticipation that heightens her pleasure. The Stoics believed in the value of delayed gratification, understanding that the anticipation of pleasure can often be as satisfying as the pleasure itself. By applying this principle to your touch, you can create an experience that is both tantalizing and deeply satisfying. In addition to physical touch, the inner thighs can also be a focal point for verbal communication. Whispering soft, reassuring words as you touch her inner thighs can enhance the sense of intimacy and connection. This combination of physical and verbal communication can create a holistic experience that engages both the body and the mind. The Stoics understood the power of words to influence emotions and actions, and by integrating this wisdom into your approach, you can create a deeper, more meaningful connection with your partner. Moreover, the inner thighs are closely connected to the hips and lower abdomen, areas that are also rich in sensual potential. By moving your touch from the inner thighs to these adjacent areas, you can create a continuous flow of sensation that heightens her pleasure and anticipation. This movement can be both subtle and powerful, building on the foundation you've established with your initial touch. The Stoics believed in the importance of flow and continuity in life, and this principle can be applied to the way you engage with the inner thighs and hips, creating a smooth and continuous experience that keeps her engaged and excited. In conclusion, the inner thighs are a powerful area of the body that, when touched with mindfulness and care, can evoke deep physical and emotional responses. By being fully present, exploring different techniques, and integrating verbal communication, you can turn a simple touch into a profound act of connection. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that every action, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on the relationship and on the overall experience of pleasure and connection. Chapter 6: Behind the Knees. The area behind the knees is often overlooked, yet it is incredibly sensitive and responsive to touch. This region, known as the popliteal fossa, is packed with nerve endings and can evoke powerful sensations when stimulated gently. The area behind the knees is not typically exposed or touched frequently, making it a surprising and exciting zone to explore. Touching this area can elicit a sense of surprise and intrigue, creating a unique and memorable experience. When you touch a woman behind the knees, it's important to use a light and delicate touch. The skin here is thin and sensitive, so gentle strokes or light kisses can create a tingling sensation that travels up her legs and into her core. The behind the knees area can be especially effective when you're looking to create a playful and teasing dynamic. Lightly brushing your fingers over this area or softly blowing air can create a sense of anticipation and excitement. From a Stoic perspective, the area behind the knees is a reminder of the importance of attention to detail. The Stoics believed in the value of mindfulness and being fully present in each moment. By focusing on this often overlooked area, you demonstrate a deep awareness of her body and a willingness to explore every inch of her with care and attention. This attention to detail can deepen the connection between you and your partner, as she feels seen and appreciated in a way that goes beyond the obvious. The area behind the knees also offers an opportunity to explore the concept of contrast. Because this area is so sensitive, alternating between light touches and slightly firmer pressure can create a dynamic experience that keeps her engaged and curious. The Stoics understood the power of contrast in life, the idea that we appreciate pleasure more deeply when it is balanced with restraint. By varying your touch, you can create a more complex and fulfilling experience for both you and your partner. Moreover, the area behind the knees is closely connected to the calves and thighs, which are also sensitive areas. By extending your touch from the knees to these adjacent regions, you can create a continuous flow of sensation that enhances her pleasure. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of all things, and this principle can be applied to the way you explore her body. By recognizing the connections between different areas, you can create a more holistic and satisfying experience. In conclusion, the area behind the knees is a powerful and often overlooked zone that, when touched with care and attention, can evoke deep physical and emotional responses. By being mindful, exploring contrast, and integrating this area into a larger exploration of her body, you can turn a simple touch into a profound act of connection. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that every action, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on the relationship and on the overall experience of pleasure and connection. Chapter 7: Ears. The ears are one of the most sensitive and intimate areas of a woman's body, making them a powerful focal point for creating deep, meaningful connections. Rich in nerve endings and intricately linked to the sense of hearing, the ears are a unique and often underestimated erogenous zone. Stimulating the ears can engage multiple senses simultaneously, which not only intensifies physical pleasure but also heightens emotional intimacy, creating a profound experience that resonates deeply with both partners. When engaging with a woman's ears, a delicate and thoughtful approach is essential. The skin around the ears is soft and highly receptive to touch, so your movement should be gentle and measured. Lightly tracing the outer edge of her ear with your fingertips, or softly kissing the lobe, can send shivers down her spine. This area responds well to a combination of touch and sound, making it an ideal spot to experiment with whispering sweet nothings or seductive phrases. The combination of warm breath and soft words can create a tingling sensation that radiates throughout her body, amplifying her arousal and deepening the connection between you. From a Stoic perspective, the ears symbolize the vital role of communication and listening in a relationship. The Stoics revered the art of listening, believing that true wisdom and understanding come from genuinely hearing and comprehending others. By focusing on her ears, you're not just providing physical pleasure, you're also symbolically demonstrating that you value her thoughts, feelings, and desires. This can foster a sense of trust and emotional security, which are fundamental to a deep and enduring connection. When you engage with her ears, you're subtly communicating that you're attuned to her needs, both spoken and unspoken, which can strengthen the emotional bond between you. The ears are also a gateway to exploring the concept of rhythm and timing, both of which are crucial elements in creating a fulfilling intimate experience. The sensitivity of the ears to sound makes them particularly responsive to variations in pace and rhythm. A slow, rhythmic whisper can build anticipation, while a sudden change in pace can surprise and excite. The Stoics understood the importance of timing in all aspects of life, recognizing that there is a perfect moment for every action. By applying this wisdom to intimacy, you can create a harmonious and emotionally resonant experience. Being mindful of the timing of your touch, as well as the cadence of your words, allows you to tune into her responses and adjust your approach to maximize her pleasure. Moreover, the ears are closely connected to other sensitive areas such as the neck and jawline, creating opportunities for a more holistic and interconnected exploration of her body. By extending your touch from the ears to these adjacent regions, you can create a seamless flow of sensation that enhances her overall experience. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of all things, and this principle can be beautifully applied to the art of physical intimacy. Recognizing how different areas of her body interact allows you to create a more cohesive and satisfying experience, one that honors her entire being, not just isolated parts of it. Another aspect to consider when focusing on the ears is the power of verbal communication. The ears are uniquely positioned to receive not only touch but also words, making them a prime spot for integrating verbal affirmation into your intimate moments. Whispering words of affection or desire directly into her ear can create a powerful emotional connection, reinforcing the idea that intimacy is as much about emotional bonding as it is about physical pleasure. The Stoics valued the importance of clear and meaningful communication, understanding that words have the power to build or destroy relationships. In the context of intimacy, your words can act as a bridge between the physical and emotional realms, deepening the connection and enhancing the overall experience. The act of touching a woman's ears, therefore, is far more than just a physical gesture. It's a complex, multi-sensory experience that can create profound emotional and physical responses. By approaching this area with care, attention, and a mindful understanding of the deeper significance it holds, you can turn a simple touch into a powerful act of connection. This is where Stoic wisdom intersects with the art of intimacy, recognizing that every action, no matter how small, has the potential to create a lasting impact on the relationship. In conclusion, the ears are a uniquely sensitive and intimate area that offers a wealth of possibilities for deepening physical and emotional intimacy. By being mindful of her reactions, exploring different techniques, and integrating this area into a broader exploration of her body, you can create an experience that is both deeply pleasurable and profoundly meaningful. This approach embodies the essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that the most significant connections are often forged through the simplest, most thoughtful actions. Chapter 8. Lower Back. The lower back is not only a physical area of the body, but also one imbued with emotional significance. It plays a crucial role in supporting the body's posture and balance, symbolizing stability and strength in the broader context of a relationship. When you touch a woman's lower back, you're not just engaging with a sensitive physical zone, you're tapping into a region that can evoke profound feelings of safety, comfort, and emotional security. Understanding how to navigate this area with intention can deepen your connection, both physically and emotionally. When focusing on the lower back, your touch should be purposeful and attentive. This area is expansive, allowing for broad, sweeping motions that can provide a sense of relaxation and comfort. Using the full surface of your hand, you can apply gentle but firm pressure, creating a soothing and grounding effect. The lower back is often a reservoir for stress and tension, so massaging or rubbing this area can be immensely calming, helping to release pent-up stress and instill a deep sense of tranquility. From a Stoic perspective, the lower back can be seen as a metaphor for the foundation of a relationship. The Stoics emphasized the importance of resilience, strength, and stability, qualities that are essential for enduring the challenges that life inevitably presents. By focusing on the lower back, you're not just offering physical comfort, you're symbolically providing emotional support, reinforcing the idea that you are a source of strength and reliability. This can foster a sense of trust and security, which are critical components of a deep, lasting connection. Moreover, the act of touching the lower back can be a grounding experience, both for you and your partner. The Stoics taught the value of being fully present in each moment, recognizing that true wisdom and contentment come from living in the here and now. When you touch her lower back with this mindful approach, you can help her feel more connected to her body and more present in the moment. This can enhance not only the physical experience, but also the emotional bond between you, creating a space where both partners feel valued and understood. The lower back also has a close connection to the hips and upper back, areas that are rich with sensual potential. As you explore the lower back, you can seamlessly transition your touch to these adjacent areas, creating a continuous flow of sensation that enhances her pleasure. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of all things, and this philosophy can be beautifully applied to the way you engage with her body. By recognizing and respecting the connections between different areas, you can create a more holistic and deeply satisfying experience, one that honors both her physical and emotional needs. The lower back is also an area that can respond well to different types of touch, from the lightest caress to more assertive pressure. As you vary your approach, you can explore how different techniques affect her level of comfort and arousal. For instance, a light, bare-leather touch might send shivers up her spine, while a more deliberate, firm massage can soothe and relax her. Understanding these nuances allows you to tailor your touch to her preferences, making the experience uniquely pleasurable and deeply personal. In the realm of intimacy, every gesture, every touch, can be seen as an act of communication. The way you engage with the lower back can convey messages of care, protection, and understanding. It's a way of saying, "I am here for you, both physically and emotionally." This kind of mindful, intentional touch can have a profound impact on the relationship, turning a simple act into something that strengthens the bond between you. The lower back, then, is much more than just a physical area of the body. It's a key to deeper emotional and physical connection. By approaching it with mindfulness, care, and a sense of purpose, you can transform a simple touch into a profound act of intimacy. This is where Stoic wisdom meets the art of love, understanding that the smallest actions can have the greatest impact on our relationships and our lives. So, when you touch her lower back, remember that you're not just engaging with her body, but with her heart and soul as well. This is the true essence of connection, where physical pleasure meets emotional depth, creating a bond that is both passionate and enduring. Chapter 9. Lips. The lips are one of the most sensual and expressive parts of the body. They are highly sensitive to touch, temperature, and pressure, making them a powerful focal point for intimacy. The lips are also closely associated with communication and expression, as they play a central role in speech and facial expressions. Touching or kissing a woman's lips can evoke deep emotional and physical responses, making it an intimate and meaningful gesture. When you touch or kiss a woman's lips, it's important to be gentle and attentive. The lips are incredibly sensitive, so even the lightest touch can create a strong reaction. Soft, lingering kisses or gentle brushing of the lips with your fingers can create a sense of anticipation and excitement. The lips are also an area where you can explore different sensations, such as temperature. Lightly running an ice cube over her lips or warming them with your breath can create a dynamic and engaging experience. From a Stoic perspective, the lips represent the importance of communication and connection in a relationship. The Stoics valued the power of words and believed that true wisdom comes from thoughtful and meaningful communication. By focusing on her lips, you're not only providing physical pleasure, but also creating an opportunity for deeper emotional connection through words and expressions. This can enhance the intimacy and trust between you and your partner. The lips are also an area where you can explore the concept of reciprocity. The Stoics taught the importance of balance and mutual respect in relationships, understanding that true connection comes from giving and receiving in equal measure. Kissing is a perfect example of this principle, as it requires both partners to engage and respond to each other's actions. By being attentive to her reactions and adjusting your touch accordingly, you can create a more harmonious and fulfilling experience. Moreover, the lips are closely connected to the face and neck, which are also sensitive areas. By extending your touch from the lips to these adjacent regions, you can create a continuous flow of sensation that enhances her pleasure. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of all things, and this principle can be applied to the way you explore her body. By recognizing the connections between different areas, you can create a more holistic and satisfying experience. In conclusion, the lips are a powerful and intimate area of the body that, when touched with care and attention, can evoke deep physical and emotional responses. By being mindful, exploring different techniques, and integrating this area into a larger exploration of her body, you can turn a simple kiss into a profound act of connection. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that every action, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on the relationship and on the overall experience of pleasure and connection. Chapter 10. Wrists. The wrists are often overlooked as an erogenous zone, yet they are incredibly sensitive and responsive to touch. The skin on the wrists is thin, and the veins are close to the surface, making this area particularly receptive to gentle touches. The wrists are also a symbolic area, as they are often associated with vulnerability and trust. Touching a woman's wrists can create a deep sense of intimacy and connection. When you touch a woman's wrists, it's important to be gentle and intentional. Lightly running your fingers over her wrists or softly kissing this area can create a tingling sensation that travels up her arms and into her body. The wrists are also an area where you can explore the concept of restraint and release. Lightly holding her wrists while kissing or touching her can create a sense of anticipation and excitement, as it combines the sensations of touch with the psychological element of control and surrender. From a Stoic perspective, the wrists represent the importance of trust and vulnerability in a relationship. The Stoics believed in the value of openness and honesty, understanding that true connection comes from being willing to show your true self to your partner. By focusing on her wrists, you're not only providing physical pleasure, but also symbolically offering her the opportunity to trust you with her vulnerability. This can deepen the emotional connection between you and create a sense of safety and security in the relationship. The wrists are also an area where you can explore the concept of contrast. Because this area is so sensitive, alternating between light touches and slightly firmer pressure can create a dynamic experience that keeps her engaged and curious. The Stoics understood the power of contrast in life, the idea that we appreciate pleasure more deeply when it is balanced with restraint. By varying your touch, you can create a more complex and fulfilling experience for both you and your partner. Moreover, the wrists are closely connected to the hands and forearms, which are also areas rich in sensual potential. By moving your touch from the wrists to these adjacent areas, you can create a continuous flow of sensation that enhances her pleasure. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of all things, and this principle can be applied to the way you explore her body. By recognizing the connections between different areas, you can create a more holistic and satisfying experience. In conclusion, the wrists are a powerful and intimate area of the body that, when touched with care and attention, can evoke deep physical and emotional responses. By being mindful, exploring different techniques, and integrating this area into a larger exploration of her body, you can turn a simple touch into a profound act of connection. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom applied to intimacy, understanding that every action, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on the relationship and on the overall experience of pleasure and connection.